Figured I started a couple minutes early because why not? It's not like I got anything to do. Okay, guys, the weather here is bad. Like I'm watching it pour outside right now. So if I lose internet, which is possible, it's happened on StreamYard before. Ask ℓ𝕦𝕣𝕗𝕚𝕤. Sorry, sorry, but we'll try to make it up if that does happen. But yeah, good times, good times. So let everybody roll in here for a second. I'm being accused of AI, and I just walked in, and I'm being accused of AI. All right, good times. Okay, yes. Elephant in the room. I knew this was coming, guys. If you've been following the channel for the last few months, you've probably noticed the diminishing returns lately. We were told towards the end of last year that we were being outsourced. It happens again. Thank you for the well wishes, obviously, but you work in oil and gas, and I do, one of the big ones. You come to expect it. You plan ahead. You save some money because the thing about oil and gas, the reason people do it is because it pays really well. It pays really well, and you're kind of tempted by you make more, you want to spend more, right? I know that we all, as book shoppers here, or if you're like me, a music lover or a sneaker lover too, it's easy to say I'm just going to go spend more money, but you always think. I think maybe this might be a little personal, but you grow up kind of in a poverty mindset. You never really escape that. And I think it's good growing up with that because you can kind of be like, this money is good, but it might not always be here. Let's put this away and save it for a rainy day, as it were. So severance is good enough that I don't feel like I got to run out and grab something right away. After what's been going on the last 4 months of training someone, that doesn't speak your native language on Teams to do your job. It was very draining. It was very, very tough. I was snapping at my kids. Like I said, I was overeating. I was stressed out. If I had any hair left, it'd have been gone. The beard's full on gray now. So it was very stressful. So thank you guys that stuck with me through that. Hopefully, this can get me back on track now. I never thought I'd say I'm excited to hit FUNemployment, as I'm liking to call it. But hey, here we are, and we're going to make the most of it. And hopefully I can at least get my mojo back a little here because it's been very, very draining. It is something that's very taxing upon you. And, you try to make the best of it. But here we go. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for everybody. It's not anything like I said, not how I would have wanted it to happen. I do feel like it was kind of I want to say a blessing in disguise because, yeah, I'm looking forward to that part. I think it's one of those things where I felt like my career kind of stagnated there already. I'd been there 5 years, and I gotten pay raise a couple times, but I had applied for greater positions 4 times, and I came the runner up every single time. So I started feeling like that's not going to happen here. And I told myself when I started there, if in 5 years I'm not the position that I want, I was going to move on, and I am. But hey, wish it had been on my terms and not the other way around. But hey, I think we stay positive and see what comes next. Like I said, I've got time where I can be a little picky for now. Yeah, it's not the way that I would have planned for it to go. I'm hoping so. It was a good company. It's just like I said, you work in oil and gas, you expect this, obviously. I was outsourced to India. I don't really know exactly what that means, but yeah, outsourced to India. Here's what I said. Hey, are you talking about me, or is it the thumbnail again? Is someone thinking that my thumbnail is AI? I don't. Guys, I barely know how to use Google, so I don't know what people people accuse me of AI. I'm like, oh, you're talking about the job? The job? No, it's actually a person. But I know that a lot of corporate America has really jumped headfirst into the AI thing, and I think eventually they wouldn't mind, for some things to be automated. And I think it is killing my industry, which is finance. Someone had asked me that. Finance, it is. They are reducing some jobs in finance and relying upon the AI. And then when the AI does it wrong, people are getting fired and stuff, and that's when they'll realize they need people back. So hopefully, I don't have to wait, a couple years for that bubble to burst. But I think it will. Thank you. I appreciate it. Is it International Workers' Day too? Yeah, well, sometimes the jokes write themselves. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. I got you. I think it's every time I put up a new thumbnail, someone in the comments is like, "Oh, AI," and I really isn't. I don't know how to do AI. I'm scared of it. I think I've used Copilot once to check my grammar, and it like completely rewrote like the entire thing I'd written to somebody. it was for professional email, and I just wanted to make sure that my grammar was correct before I hit reply. And I used it when this was like 6, 7 months ago. I think I put in there, like, completely rewrote the email. Like, well, that doesn't even sound like it's for me anymore. So I didn't use it. I'm scared of it. Yeah, it's been really, really awful. I hope you guys can hear me. I really do. And I hope you guys can't hear my music. Like I said, I'm always scared of getting a copyright strike because of something that's stupid. This is true. This is true. And guys, like I said, I am planning to take at least a few weeks here to kind of recharge before I even really try to get out there, because I didn't want to be doing job interviews and stuff when I was in that state of mind. Who does? It's already stressful enough looking for a job. And like I said, the severance is long enough that I feel like I'll be able to take my time now. But yes, I will be able to maybe do more stuff over on Mike's Media Reviews. I've had a lot of people ask me, they want me to do music stuff now, because people are like, "Oh, you really gotten into like vinyl and stuff recently?" I always have been. It just, we didn't have physical media anywhere except, crammed into a little side room here. And when I asked my wife if we could move the stereo downstairs, I full on expected her to tell me no, but she said yes. And we've been just going crazy. Every Friday night we just pick like an album or two, or pretty much every night we pick like an album too and just listen to it and talk. And it's a real nice throwback to some good old 90s time. Put the devices down, just talk. Friday nights we usually have like a game night or something. Really good. Maybe if this was like 5 years ago, the overlords have made this so, I don't want to say unfun. There's just a lot of things that YouTube does now to smaller creators. It kind of makes it impossible, I feel like, unless you're one of those people who has a footprint of like a million. You put out a video of you petting your cat and it gets 3 million views. I feel like those people can still do it. People like me, no. This might pay like a bill, but it isn't gonna pay your mortgage for you. At least not me. I'm not getting that kind of ad revenue. But here we go. You think so, Brian? I don't know. I don't know if I get that far behind. I don't know. We'll see. Let's just jump to the front. So if you've already posted a comment and I haven't hit it, and you really want me to know, make sure you hit it again. Okay, great. Yeah, it's going around, and that's the thing, is I was saying that I'm not worried. I feel like my interview skills are good enough. I feel like you guys know I can talk. I feel like my interview skills are good enough. I could probably find something in a normal work environment. But right now, it's going on a lot of places right now, and you just take it, roll with the punches, see what happens. Like I said, this is why you prepare. You plan ahead. I wasn't in scouts, but I always believe in be prepared, right? Really? I guess I'd like to work for MLB. They get money hand over fist. Yeah, sure. See, that's rough. Yeah, that's rough. See, so right now I'm positive about it, but once I get out there for a few months, I might be like, shit. I know I'll never be as lucky as I was with the hours, the schedule, the vacation time, being able to wear sneakers and jeans to work every day, working from home a couple days a week, the 980 schedule. It was all really, really great. That's the biggest thing that I'm worried about. I probably should. I probably should do something Star Wars related for the 4th. I got time to plan now. I should be doing these things, definitely. I've had months to prepare for it, and it's been like I said. You guys were watching me back in like February, and I look like my dog just died. It was bad. Things were really, really bad. Like where you're driving in traffic and you're like, I could just pull the car in the left lane here, and it might make the day go by easier. It was really, really rough there in February. In this last month or two, it's just been so draining. That's why I've gotten down to like almost like one video per week, so I just didn't have any energy. But yeah, you got to stay positive. At least for now, I am. We'll say. A dog popsicle ad? Well, at least they're hitting the right target audience. You guys give your dogs popsicles. I think they would appreciate that. I feel like it's something that I do feel like I'd be good at it, but I never really have been ambitious enough, I think, to go for it. All the equipment I have is just a stupid Yeti microphone. I don't have any nice equipment or any of that stuff. And I think it was a real revelation to me when I did that Christmas Story audiobook. And I was not Christmas Story, Christmas Carol. I always call it Christmas Story, Dickens. And it's a short book, and it took me 2 weeks to record a 2-hour audiobook. I said, that's a lot of work. It really, really is. So that had to be something that, would be worth my while really to pursue. And I know that Audible isn't anxious to just throw money at anybody. So it's one of those, I feel like you got to pay your dues for a while first. But, I would, I'd record some smut books or something. That's what it took to pay my dues the first time. There it is. There you go. That's a positive out of it. I can focus on finishing my own book. I got my laptop right here. Actually, last night, obviously you have that big hangover after everything like this. It does end, and I didn't sleep like at all last night. I'm sure you can see. I always got the bags under the eyes. But yeah, I wrote like about 2,000 words last night. So I'm back on that, and I feel like I'm gonna be finishing here probably in a few weeks, and I'm very, very sad about it because it's been a rewarding experience, and I've loved it. And I say that before I do one lick of editing, because I know that'll be an interesting process. But yeah, I've grown really, really attached to these characters. Obviously, you write almost 600,000 words, and you kind of go through 15, 16 years of their lives together. You feel like you know them. So it's gonna be tough, very, very tough. Finance. I feel like people are always going to need people to run spreadsheets and stuff, but I don't know. They're trying to replace us with programs and software now. Happens to every industry. You know, my wife's a teacher. She's scared it's going to happen to them in a few years. Why they're already taking away some lesson planning from them. So here we go. I think this is the first time I'm not even looking at a new King book. If it's Holly, I just don't care anymore. I'm just so tired of Holly. And I think that King knows that, and he just keeps doing it. Can I tell you my characters' names? I think that's safe. The characters' names are Matthew and Brianna. Matthew and Brianna. Yeah. They're not named after anybody. It's just names, like I said, just pulled out of the air. Didn't come out of anywhere. I guess it just came out of thin air, really. I don't know how I came up with those names. There you go. You got to know a little bit more about the story now. Yeah, I know. I'm read about half of this last night. So I'll probably finish this today. This is really, 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 really quick. And I know some people said this was a King's take on Of Mice and Men. I was like, haven't read Of Mice and Men. People are like, what? But I don't know. I should read Of Mice and Men. I've heard I could read it probably in an afternoon. This is pretty quick too. But I like it. I like the way he writes his Bachman. I think it's different enough that it really does feel almost like a different author. Love the way he does it. It wouldn't surprise me if he goes out with Talisman 3. It really wouldn't shock me if that's his last book. I mean, if I thought I was good at it, man, yeah, I'd go for it. I just don't. Like I saw someone on Twitter today said, do you think that if you read a lot, it can make you a good writer? And I was like, well, not my experience. I think your mileage is going to vary on that one. Yeah, layoffs are going around, my friend. It's a rough time. It's a rough time. Hey, the good news is at least we're saving gas money, right? That feels like that can pay a bill right there, saving on gas. I mean, $4. It's $4 a gallon out here. I've heard it's probably worse elsewhere. It's rough. Yeah, see, it's me. I'm saying I want to be picky about it, but I'm starting to be like, sheesh. There's a lot of that going on around here, so I'm not sure how picky I'll be able to be. We'll see. Yeah, my wife is very, very exasperated right now. I'll put it that way. My wife has that thing where, she wanted to roll and she got passed over for it. So now she's like all down, thinking that she's getting phased out. And I'm like, they still love you, but I know what that's like. You get passed over for a position. You feel like, what's my future here? Like I said, it happened to me 4 times at Chevron, 4 times. It was rough. And then they had the audacity to tell you, it's like, you could just told me that like I was just not good, and then to be like, oh yeah, you were a runner-up. Every time I got told I was a runner-up. It's good times. Hey guys, good to see y'all. You guys always keep me positive, so I appreciate you. Your videos crack me up. Except when you're like, oh, what was y'all's Dune video the other day? I forget. Is Dune better than Lord of the Rings or something like that? I don't know. I have opinions, but I don't know. Yeah, 5 feet, dude. I would get a bicycle. My goodness. I kind of don't want to, because that's when you start enjoying unemployment. You start enjoying it. And I don't want to start enjoying it. I do want, like I said, I do want to recharge. And, there's some projects around the house that I've been putting off for a long time that I feel like I can do now. And I want to make sure that I hold myself to doing those and, get out my content, obviously in a much less stressful manner, and maybe do some more over on Mike's media reviews, like I said. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm afraid if I started, getting into some games I had, and the next thing I know, I'm gonna be doing 10 hours of that a day and not wanting to go back to work. That's the worst part, man. That's the worst part. Is they're like, oh, we don't have enough people to be teachers, and then they downsize them every year. It's rough. Is that what it was? Is Dune more influential than Lord of the Rings? Um, I don't think so. I don't know. Shoot, I don't know. I just maybe they're about par for their genre. Dune for sci-fi and Lord of the Rings for fantasy. I don't know. I don't know. Don't like hearing stories like that. Yeah, that's the thing is they had like a luncheon for us to say goodbye. Yes, and to tell us how great we are and how wonderful we are. And the thing is, like, we're like, you guys don't even know what's coming because the last 2 weeks we let the replacements like handle the position like 100%. It was bad. I wish I could say I feel bad for them, but I'm just saying that, like, yeah, within 6 months, you guys are going to be trying to hire people back, or your guys are going to be hiring contractors to do this work because, yeah, and you ain't gonna have anybody to train them. And I said, hey, I have a very, very fair consulting fee if you need to call me. Great, great. I loved King Sorrow. Someone asked about the Hive. I did finish the Hive. Yeah, I liked it. It's going to be one of those things where people are going to be iffy about the ending, and I just think that's just horror or psychological horror, whatever you want to call this book. I think that's just the genre. You're never going to please everybody with that in horror. And so it might feel like a little incomplete or a little anticlimactic in some ways, but I don't think it's nothing that really like let me down. It is nothing that made me feel like, oh, those 750 pages of the Hive weren't worth it, because it was. And Malfi, just a masterclass in dread. He's just awesome at it. See, man, me and some of the others were talking about that yesterday. I was like, man, I almost wish they just had like an email that said, pack your shit, instead of this, 6 months and then 4 months of training your replacement. It's just been psychological. Just, oh, it's just been so painful. So I was like, oh, it's like, cool. I'll take the extra 4 months of pay and the severance time and all that stuff. But man, it's just, whew, yeah. And they paid out my vacation time. So yeah, that should be nice. That should be nice. Yeah, I think that's fair. 4 out of 5. Yeah, that's what I'd say. It's not my favorite Malfi book, but I definitely like what he's going for, and it's his most ambitious novel without a doubt. They have no idea. They have no idea that I do this. I won't lie. I do have a YouTube business partner on my resume, and I think that some people would be like embarrassed that I'm not. I'm not. It shows that you are good at marketing, and I have a marketing minor. And so when I was in those interviews, I was talking about, to try to get into an increased role, to ask about it. But what I always say is people are like, oh, aren't you worried that your employer will find out what you do? And I'm like, if my employer is upset that I talk about sci-fi fantasy books on YouTube, it's not a company I want to work for anyway. But no, they never really cared. And I wouldn't go as far as to say famous. No way. My parents moved they moved me and my brother all over the place all the time for jobs and their divorce and all kinds of stuff. And to be closer to family, that's how I ended up in Texas. I said I wasn't going to do that to my kids. I wanted them to have some stability. So at least until they graduate high school, no, we won't be relocating. And it would take a 7-figure offer for me to leave Texas. It really would. I do love Texas. I mean, maybe Houston I might leave, but I don't think I would ever leave Texas. No doubt. Yeah, Malfi's a great guy. He's really, really personable. Very, very cool guy. The Gunners, even though they have a smaller field of work, a lesser discography because of how long Axel takes with everything. I think that helps over time when you look at someone's discography and they don't have like 12 forgettable albums. That helps. That helps a lot. Not that Motley Crue does, but post Dr. Feelgood, it's been very, very, it's been painful to watch a lot of Motley Crue since then. Yeah, man. Hang on tight, brother. Hang on tight. Hang on tight. I no, I don't foresee that happening. You know, the thing is like someone was saying, hey, since YouTube's like crushing people lately, you should branch out into some of these other providers like what's called Rumble and BitChute, things like that. And I was like, I went over there and I was like, those things are just like a mess of politics. It's like I don't think that there's any room for book discussion on those channels or those platforms. So as of right now, no. And obviously, I didn't want YouTube to like demonetize me one day and say it was like a conflict of interest. So I just no. Yes, I've said that The Dirt by Motley Crue might be the most fun I've ever had reading a book. That's just one of those like I can't believe this happened, but I do believe that it happened. I've always been curious about the diet change you mentioned that helps so much with depression. Any tips on that? Yes, cut out processed food. And I know it's hard because it's convenient, it's cheap, it's easy. You know, your food's ready in a minute. It's especially, you know, if you don't have like kids or something, you just want to make it easy. But yeah, avoid the frozen section at the grocery store. That's the best advice I can give. Low carb. People think that keto is no carb. It's low carb. What you're cutting out is sugar. Sugar's the devil. It really it tastes so good. Tastes so good, but that's the real thing is sugar. Absolutely, sugar's the problem. Once I cut the sugar, wow, all of a sudden I can function again. I never could have done a channel like this with all the crazy comments and things like that. Never could have been on social media, I think, the way I was, 7, 8 years ago, no doubt. Top 5 metal bands. Okay. All right. That's a good one. Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Metallica, Megadeth, Black Sabbath. You can't people count Black Sabbath as metal. I mean, I think that they kind of started metal. So I think you should count Black Sabbath. But I know some people are always going, it's kind of make them fall on classic rock now. Ozzy Black Sabbath. I love me some Dio, but Ozzy Black Sabbath just hit different for me. I love Dio, but Black Sabbath Dio just sounds like Dio. I don't know. Whereas I don't feel like Ozzy's solo stuff and Ozzy with Black Sabbath doesn't sound the same to me. I've always felt like Black Sabbath with Dio and Dio solo kind of sounded similar. It really did. Does that make sense? I know it's a very, very strange. I did live stream the first round over on Mike's Media Reviews. It just sucks because you can't show anything. So really it was just like me and 4 other people talking about the draft. I just love football. So I talked about it. I it's for my own team. I've been begging for them to fix the offensive line for years, and they finally did that. But, you just hope that some of them hit. I love that they got ℚ𝕦𝕤𝕤𝕤 in the second round. I mean, you already got maybe the best defense in football, and you just fix your one weakness, maybe, was the run game. So I feel pretty good. Of course I'm a Tool fan. Of course. I wish they put out more than one album every 12 years, but yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's probably my favorite metal band like the last 20 years, no doubt. Still haven't still don't believe about the passing away. Sound like they're AC/DC metal. I don't know. They're just rock. I don't know. I didn't play Crimson Desert. I've heard so many mixed things, and people that love it really love it, and people that don't, they got no problem letting you know what they think about it. Everybody gets sniped. One of my patrons, Aaron, he's a Giants fan, and the Texans jumped in front of them to get ℚ𝕦𝕤𝕤 in the second round. And he was like, "Son of a bitch!" And I was like, "Go big or go home, my friend." I haven't. I am mostly 70s, 80s, 90s rock. I will branch out into metal with modern stuff because I think that rock as a genre is just in the toilet, especially in the States. Modern rock is really, really just bad right now. And I think that everybody feels like that. I think you get into the old graybeard era of your life. You'll start thinking that all music's terrible. You turn into your parents. It happens to all of us. Everyone turns into their parents when it comes to music. You'll watch an award show and you'll just be griping about how terrible the music is, how bad the band names are, things like that. But since we did move the turntable back downstairs, and then basically all I buy on vinyl is era appropriate things. So it's mostly like 70s rock. That's all I've been listening to lately is just 70s rock, Creedence, Bob Seger, I busted out some Billy Joel and Elton lately, but like the '70s stuff, the very early '80s. But I mean, Led Zeppelin's my band, so it's always gonna be Zeppelin. But pretty much anything, rock, pop, anything in the '70s. I just love '70s music. It's really, really good. I even like some disco, not like as much as like the other stuff, but like guitar rock in the '70s to me is just it's timeless. It's just timeless. I always get texted when I'm doing a live stream. No one ever texts me, ever, until I'm on a live stream. I appreciated what they were doing, Greta Van Fleet. I know a lot of people gave them shit about it, but I was just like, look, they sound like Led Zeppelin. And I don't have Led Zeppelin anymore, So I had fun with them. But yeah, when you got to have throwback bands because modern rock's in such a bad place. It's like when Arnold and Stallone went retire because no action heroes were stepping up to take their place. That's kind of how I feel about rock music now. And now we're having AI music and auto tune and all that. It's just like, yeah. I turned into ℕ𝕤𝕣𝕉. You guys know ℕ𝕤𝕉𝕉 that does all the music stuff on YouTube? Yeah, I've turned into him a lot the last like 5 years, where just like everything after 1998 sucks. It does happen. No, but I wouldn't be shocked if my father-in-law just shows up, because that's what he does. He just shows up all the time. It's like, man, you need to get a girlfriend, my brother. You need to, for sure. Find something to do. I yes and no, because look, I do think that disco was just like oversaturating everything, and it was just like killing. It basically was killing '70s guitar rock, which, like I said, I love. But it also it ruined the career of Bee Gees, who I think are some of the greatest musicians of all time, and I'm talking like pre-falsetto Bee Gees. Like their stuff before the disco era was as good as anybody in the business. And I hate that because they became like the poster children for disco, it ruined their careers. And they were so damn talented. They were still great songwriters, and they wrote hits for everybody else. But I always wonder how would Bee Gees have been one of the greatest of all time if they'd got to keep going. I really hate how they got blacklisted, because everybody associated them with just being like the disco guys. It sucks because they're so much better than that. It really, really is. We just got a Books A Million. We don't have a bookstore close to us at all. We have to go to a Half Price Books about 15 miles away. But I guess you would say that. Oh, super chat. Thank you so much. Have you heard the new full cast Harry Potter audiobooks? Also reviewing the Harry Potter series on your chat? Yeah, I could. I don't really audio, but I've heard good things. I think Spencer over at Fantasy Files, he was talking about how good I think these new I think it was him talking about how good these new audiobook recordings were. I think they're like full cast and stuff. Yeah. So that's, I don't know if they do like music or sound effects or anything like that, like graphic audio does. But yeah, I've heard good things about it. I don't know. I've talked about why you should read with Harry Potter. And every time you talk about Harry Potter on YouTube, you know what nasty comments you're going to get, which I'm just like, I understand why people have the feelings that they do, and they're allowed to have those feelings. But to me, it doesn't change how good the books are, and the books will always be important to me. So I'm always going to talk about them on the channel. It's just sometimes I don't feel like dealing with that, So I don't know. If there was demand for it, sure. So yeah, all right, another Bee Gees fan. Outstanding. Yeah, very, very talented guys. We didn't deserve them. So I don't know what H-1B is. Is that just outsourcing? Non-American jobs. I don't know how it works, but yeah, and what Dave Grohl and Justin Timberlake, obviously, but yeah, that just like you look at anything Bee Gees like pre-1975, you'll be blown away. I'm like, as good as the Beatles. They were just disgustingly talented, like amazing songwriters. Their harmonies could not be touched, and I always said that the reason that people cover Bee Gees songs and they're never good is because you can't beat DNA. These were three brothers, and their voices were just so perfect for one another. Really, really good. I again, like I said, we all turn to our parents with music eventually. But when my wife is listening to something, sometimes I'm just like, it sounds like every other crap band that I hear. Pussifer, man, I was talking about them the other day. Wow, I thought about that in a minute. Queens of Stone Age are still around, huh? Man. See, I don't keep up with the modern music scene like at all anymore. I don't. I think for a while there, I kept up with a few. There's a handful. Like I still love Nightwish. You know, Thomas from Nightwish is a fan of the channel. We're pen pals. We write back and forth about books all the time, which is just crazy to me because I've been listening to Nightwish for freaking 20 years, and that's just wild that the founder of the band watches this channel. And it's not shocking to me that he would like fantasy books, though. You know, I got him into Ronald Malfi, by the way. But yeah, a lot of modern bands. I don't pay attention anymore. I was really into Alter Bridge there for a minute because I think Miles Kennedy is just like an amazing vocalist, like one of the most amazing voices ever. And it was like, and Mark Tremonti was like, he's way too talented to be in Creed. Like his talents as a guitar player are just disgusting, and he's being wasted in Creed. So when he got to go to Alter Bridge and actually play, I really did dig that for a while. A fantasy book that I read this year, not Rift War. I don't know. Have I read a great fantasy book this year? I don't know. I don't know offhand if anything's really blown me away fantasy wise this year. But again, you can't take me to heart with some of that stuff. Like I said, I've been to first quarter of this year was rough, guys. It was rough. I was surprised I was reading anything. No, we just got one in Cypress. It's literally like a mile away from me. It's walking distance. Right on, right on. No, I'm a rep for Broken Binding. So what they send me, I am so thankful for because I could never afford a subscription to Broken Binding, especially now. But the shipping is like, from the state to the States is rough. But no, I'm a rep for them, and they send me stuff, and I'm so thankful for it. Absolutely. All right, like I'm seeing some love here. All right, good times. Hey, Spencer, there he is. Yeah, so he is talking about the full cast audiobooks. You guys check his channel out. Good guy. Good guy. I don't agree with all of his opinions, but we don't have to. That's what makes us great as content creators. We don't have to agree with everything. I call him the Sony pony sometimes, but it's all done out of love. Oh, there are sound effects in it. Okay. My favorite quarterback in football is Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow is a killer. I just wish he'd get on a better franchise that would protect him better. I really do. Yeah, Joe Burrow is a killer, man. I always root for Josh Allen. I'd like to see him finally get over it. I mean, once the Texans are out, I'm like, I'm rooting for the Bills, and it's just heartbreaking seeing what happens to them every year. But I told my kid for his birthday, I asked him, he's like, "What do you want for your birthday this year?" And he's gotten really into football, which is so awesome. And he said he just wanted Texans tickets. And I was like, the price of those are crazy now, especially since the team doesn't suck ass anymore. But I told him, hey, pick one game, and whichever one you want to go to, we'll go to. And he said the Bills because he wants to see Josh Allen. So I'm just glad he didn't say the Cowboys. Because when the Cowboys come here, there's at least about 7 or 8 fights in the stands whenever the Cowboys are here in town. It's Cowboys fans are a special breed. See, I wonder if I could do something like this because, I know the story. I don't have to really pay attention. If I stop paying attention for a minute, what does it matter? That's why people told me check out the First Law audiobook since I've read those 3 times. You don't have to pay much attention to it. If I ever did, I think maybe I do. There is like a recording like this of Lord of the Rings where they put in music and they try to sound exactly like the actors from the Lord of the Rings movies with the books. And those are really cool. I think I could probably do those if I ever did an audiobook. But this is cool. I think it breathes new life into stuff that people find boring. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how. You guys prefer full cast audiobooks, or you just like a single narrator? Because I just feel like, I mean, if there's a narrator who does like a lot of good voices and, they're really a chameleon and stuff, I feel like they could do it. But to me, it's like any audiobook that I tried to listen to when I was younger, it's just the narrator either had 2 voices or they just sound like they were reading a phone book. They were like not differentiating anything. And that would make it really, really tough for me to ever pay attention to. But that also, again, might just be a me thing. Hey, Jordan, what's up, man? I'm shocked. I'm shocked that you're liking Christine. So Jordan has been breaking my heart. Some of the Legendary King books he hasn't liked, but he's liking Christine. That's really, really surprising to me. But hey, I'll take any win. I'll take the win there any way I can get it, man. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Becker's, huh? Becker's in Houston. Huh, I'll have to look that up. Okay. Are you Justin Watson that plays for the Texans? Or, is signed by the Texans and doesn't play? Constant reader educates Stephen King skeptic. No, man. You want to get on and talk about Stephen King. Yeah, I did take like a little bit of a sabbatical. Like I said, while I was going through this, I can tell you guys this now. While I was going through this outsourcing thing, I was not in the right frame of mind, and I just was basically anyone that invited me on their channel, I was saying no because I don't feel like I was having a very bubbly personality. Let's put it that way. But I feel like, yeah, I could probably come back now and do some guest spots if you guys want to chat or do something like that. But George, anytime, man. I'll always be there for you, brother. Anytime. Oh yeah, grunge. It was perfectly timed. It was. I mean, that was my generation's rebellion moment. It smells like Teen Spirit. That was our rebel against our parents theme song kind of thing. That was our moment. It really, really was. And that's all. I'll always say that Nevermind changed everything. And when I fell into the '70s rock hole I'm in now was after Kurt Cobain passed away. That to me, that was that new genre kind of died with him. And I went back and started finding all those things that influenced the artists that I loved and things like that. And I just never went back. So it's always been my favorite. I don't want to sell any of my books though. Yeah, it's rough, man. But if you can hang on to it, man, do so. It's a good business, but I feel like the AI bubble is gonna burst. It's how long is it gonna take? Hopefully long enough that or not long enough that we can actually get good jobs again. I feel like it's going to oversaturate the market, and because there's going to be a lot of people that have the same skills as you, and let's be honest, probably younger than me. It's rough. They're gonna take the kid with the same degree as me and 27 years old and a little bit of experience over me. Because they won't feel like they'll have to pay him as much. Yeah, if I do get into rock bands, it's usually, I mean, like every time I talk to Jay Kristoff, which is a lot, he just recommends 7, 8 new bands to me. Because when I saw him in Dallas this past what was that, November, we were hanging out, and he took my phone. He was looking at the music on my phone. He's just like, man, you just listen to nothing but old man rock now. I'm like, I always have, whatever. He's like, what's the deal? I was like, they just don't play rock music on the radio here. They just really don't, and especially not metal bands. So he took it upon himself that every single time he finds a couple bands that he really likes, he'll just email me. Hey, listen to these bands, listen to these bands, listen to these bands. And he really likes Sleep Token. I don't really understand it. It's not bad, but it's nothing that really did anything for me. But I appreciate him for he's made it like his personal goal now is to get me to listen to some more modern metal bands. How far am I into writing my book? I would say 90%. I've got the spreadsheet. I showed it on Twitter the other day where I've got like 5 chapters left. Well, now 4 because I finished one last night. Now 4 chapters left. And also, but people got to understand that these chapters are going to be dozens of chapters in an editing process. What I'm doing, since I'm writing it on Word, I didn't want 300 Word documents. So I'm doing about 10,000 words per chapter, and then it'll be broken up. So I would say probably 12 to 15 regular chapters left, but I followed my outline this whole time, so I know where it's going. But I said I wanted to wait until this thing with work ended so I could be in a good frame of mind. I don't want to be in a bad frame of mind to write the ending of this story, So that's kind of where I'm at right now. But it's going. I think I expect to finish this month. Definitely, it's gonna be very, very bittersweet. Yeah, it's very, very tough. It's very, very just not anything I would ever, because my previous company, I was with them for 11 years and they got acquired and they just dissolved the Houston office. And I did have to show some things, but it was nothing like this. You weren't just completely showing someone over text messaging basically and video calls how to do your job. Is super, super stressful. I think I finished book 4. With Dungeon Crawler Carls, I started getting to the point where I was like, look, yeah, these are fun, and I feel like fun can take you so far. But after a while, I was like, man, I need some kind of story, and I don't feel like it was giving me one. I'll probably go back to it. I've got all 7 of them. I think did 8 come out already? I don't even know if book 8 came out yet. And the thing was, those books just kept getting longer and longer. I'm like, why are we? I just figured they were getting longer because they were getting some kind of story in there. But you plan on reading? I mean, I plan on reading Taipan. I don't know about when. try explaining this to my wife when she was asking, because she started Empires and Dust and I did not. That's Ryan Cahill's fourth book. And I was telling her that, like, I think that Shogun kind of broke me in a good way. Is where it was amazing. My book of the year that I read it, but it made me be like, I just don't want to read a book that long again right now. And that's, I mean, it's like 2 years now. It's been like that. And I did like King Sorrow, and things like that, but it's a little different. It's not as heavy. It's not as heavy as something like Shogun was. But yeah, I definitely want to revisit Taipei, just because by the strength of Shogun alone, I want to read more James Clavell, no doubt. But I don't have a plan yet. Great comparison. Yeah, absolute killer. But his team just never protecting him. Just is going to end his career prematurely. I feel like if they have another year like they had the last couple, Joe Burrow is going to ask out, and I think it would probably be beneficial to his career. I mean, usually I'm just like, dude, don't be a coward, But Cincinnati's just such a poorly run team. They're just just such a cheap ass owner. Yeah, I read everything except the most recent one, but maybe that's what you're talking about. I loved War and Ruin. God, it was so good. Well, I hope your treatment's going well, my friend. I really do. I really, really do. I try to look at things like that. Like I don't want to say that one out loud. That's something very personal. But let's just say there's some rough things that happened in life about about 2 years ago, and I feel like it's one of those that I wish it hadn't gone the way that it had, but I feel like it did help me figure out some things in life. So sometimes, it's not about the struggle; it's about how you adapt to it. And I know that sounds like really corny and motivational, like I'm reading The Speed of Trust to you or something. But sometimes those things can be true if you approach them as like a mantra of, it's about, everybody's gonna get knocked down. It's about getting back up and how you roll with it. And that's just kind of how I approach with everything. So if you can find a silver lining in cancer, then I mean, you're already in the right frame of mind. I don't watch soccer or football. Sorry. No. Watched it, got a few years back, just because my kids really wanted to see Messi finally win one, and we watched like the last bit of that. And that was entertaining. It's just tough for Americans, man. We just anything that goes for 2.5 hours and ends in a draw, or a tie as we call it here in the States, or ends in a shootout, or free kicks. It's just not exciting to us. It's rough. I don't know. Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be awful. It's how I felt when the Texans lost J.J. Watt. It was just like they never put the team around them. I feel you, brother. I feel you. I mean, if it, I feel like the only place that could be worse to be a fan of is the state of Ohio. Yeah. Appreciate that. Thank you. We did once, because I was kind of the middleman in getting the Sun Eater deal done with Broken Binding, being the bridge between Matt and Christopher. They wanted to bring me on to help with the artwork on that. I was very excited about it. I was very just gung ho, hell yeah, we're gonna do this. And I saw how much work goes into art direction. Wow, no, Petrick is awesome at it. I'm gonna keep letting him do that. At first, I was gung ho, and then I just started being like, "Yeah, what Petrick said, what Petrick said," because my goodness, it was not for me. Best movie I've seen this year. I should know this answer. Hang on. Let me consult the Letterbox. You guys use Letterbox? Letterbox is so nice. I use it to make lists for each year, and I'll rank my movies by year. I've gone all the way back to like 1988 so far. Let's see here. Have I seen anything in 2026 yet? Sort by list name. Here we go. 2026 movies. I really don't know if I've seen anything yet in 2026. I don't have anything listed. I have 2025 movies. I guess it's going to be the Mario movie. I think that's the only thing I've seen is Super Mario Galaxy. Wow, that's kind of depressing, man. I used to be, God, 50 new movies a year minimum, and now it's man, I can't believe it. Jeez. Oh, they don't tell me nothing. I might be a rep for them, but they don't tell me any secrets. No doubt. Are you serious? No. Oh God. I just talking about how great it was. Now they're gonna take it away. Damn. That hurts. I try to talk my kids into they really want to go see Mario Galaxy. I really try to talk them into Project Hail Mary. Because I want to see. We don't go to the movies very often. It's just too damn expensive. But yeah, we usually just wait the 3-4 weeks now and buy it off Amazon for $9.99 when it hits digital or something. But yeah, I definitely want to see that because I love the book and I've heard nothing but great feedback. Yeah, re-releases when re-releases and remakes of video games are like your game of the year, things like that. That's when it's yeah, I read Under the Dome. I know a lot of people complain about it, but I loved it. I thought it was like the best city. It was basically the city setting that he started with Needful Things. I felt like he really perfected it there. I felt like the story with Needful Things was better, but I liked Under the Dome a lot. Big Jim Rennie, what a villain. Everyone thinks I'm going to say Dune for favorite Denny V movie, but I really think it's Prisoners. Prisoners is such a good movie. That is a psychological thriller, like done to perfection. And I don't, to this day, don't know how Hugh Jackman didn't win an Oscar for that movie. Like he had to scare the hell out of Paul Dano in that scene. He had to absolutely terrify that guy. He was amazing in that movie. And Jake Gyllenhaal's always great. I think that guy. I've never seen a performance of his and thought, oh, he could have been better. No, he's always great. But man, Prisoners is so good. If you guys haven't seen Prisoners, do so immediately. Immediately. Now that I'm reading or about to read Lovely Bones, I'm like, it does have a lot of similarities to Prisoners, just not really. If you know, you know. Thank you, Matt. Any modern fantasy that really nails classic tropes like quests, mentors, that kind of thing. Modern fantasy. I think Michael J. Sullivan in the Rhaenyra Chronicles and Rhaenyra Revelations, he does a lot of the classic stuff. To me, those feel like books that could have come out in the 90s. But yet it also still feels fresh and new, though, somehow. But, he's got your dwarves, your elves, your typical stuff you would see in fantasy. You got your two likable rogues, that aren't grimdark. They're just, Royce does some things that are questionable, so he can be kind of a wild card, But Hadrian is just like the full on the honorable character that you'll just love. But I love that duo. But yeah, I always say modern fantasy makes you want to feel like it was back in the day when you're reading like Stones of Shannara or something like that, but better. Yeah, I definitely think that the Rhaenyra series by Michael J. Sullivan. I don't have anything bad to say about his books. We should have just like snuck over and saw the other one. Nah. I can't say a big one. There was a time, really, but it's more of I'd say it's a hobby. Whereas my kids are gamers, if we let them do it 24/7, they would do it 24/7. Absolutely, they would not sleep. Well, that's the conundrum, isn't it? Like I said, I'm coming up on 550,000 words, and I've got about a dozen chapters left. So I am estimating probably 600,000 words pre-edits, and I know that that's much too long for a love story. So it would be something that if I ever did say, I'm going to just throw caution to the wind and I'm going to release this, and then I'm going to leave the internet so I can't hear what anything bad that people say about it, that would probably be something I broke into, 5 books or so, just because I know that the genre itself, romance or just a traditional love story, those readers don't read more than 80, 100,000 words. So I'd have to break it like that. But what I was telling my wife the other night was I would sell the story as a slow burn and yearn. It's very much slice of life, going through the years with this couple, showing you why they feel the way they do about each other, is one of those where I don't feel like there's enough of a hook to where someone would read part 1 and say, oh, I've got to definitely pick up part 2. It's like you're either in or out. So I don't think that I have like real cliffhangery spots to break into those kind of parts. So it's weird. Yes, it is. Sugar is absolutely. I've never done cocaine, but I can imagine. Can't imagine it's any worse, right? I am. I'm on LinkedIn. I don't know if I believe it's a actual thing that gets anybody jobs. I have an agent, and she's already been reaching out to me, stuff like that. So hopefully, it's not hard, but we'll see. I see your threats all the time, man. I don't even know what it is, but you've got me curious enough now that I've got to check out whatever it is. Yeah, but then no one would read it, and I'd feel like, well, what did I do this for? So it's that real conundrum where you're like, I don't want to release it because I'd be embarrassed, but then I'm also just like, but I don't want to, you know, release it where no one would ever see it because they never heard of this person. I guess I'd have to do the initials thing because if they knew a guy was writing a romance story, no one's going to read it, right? Thanks so much, Cody. I appreciate that. Best of luck in future endeavors. I've been there before. Keep your head and push forward. I'm going to. Like I said, it's day one. I'm still very, very positive about it. No one likes starting over at 47 years old. Who does? But I'm confident enough in my ability to adapt or perish that I feel like I'll do okay. It just sucks. You feel like you spend so much time at a company and it's just like you got to start back at zero. It's really rough. Did I get all these super chats here? I didn't. I missed this one. Thank you, Jack. Have I read Pandora's Star yet? No, I haven't. I need to do that because that's Alistair Reynolds, right? Or is that Peter Hamilton? Peter Hamilton, right? I always get those two mixed up. I've had a lot of people tell me they think that that's the best place to start with him, not the Night's Dawn ones. They think that the Pandora's Star would be the best place to start, and it can be treated somewhat as a standalone. So I think that would probably be a good idea. But his books are just so damn long. But I'm doing the smaller sci-fi this year. So I'm doing Forever War here in May. So doing some of the smaller ones. It's just I feel like I let people down when I do a lot of very popular sci-fi because if I don't love it, I feel like I'm just letting them down. It's a bummer. Okay, so here's some feedback on Forever War. Really good, really good. I've had people tell me, some tell me I'm going to hate it, and some people tell me that I'm going to love it, but we'll see. I tried this, Chris. I tried because I am a good communicator. I'm a good problem solver. I'm a good speaker. I tried to get into human resources at Chevron. I really did, and they want you to have a dozen years of experience, so it's like no matter how much experience you have in another role, they want you to have experience for that job. So it's very, very tough to say I'm going to change careers in my late 40s. It's really, really rough. But I did really get into organizational behavior when I went back to school, and I thought I could probably do this. But yeah, if you haven't done it before, it's tough. It's tough to break into that, especially in oil and gas. Oh, I love Twin Peaks, of course. I wasn't nuts about the revival. I think that David Lynch is best when he's got a little bit of a buffer. If you let that guy just go all willy-nilly, he's going to go nuts. But yeah, I love it. I mean, I have the coffee mug that says damn fine cup of coffee. Still say that all the time. How did I become such a good speaker? Years of practice, years of podcasting before I did this. It was one of those things where I heard one day someone point out, just listen to how much people say, and when they're talking. And like, I'll hear like interviews on the radio and stuff. And it's just so, I'm like, oh my Lord, these people can't stop saying, or, like every single word. And that really, really just kind of opened my eyes to it to be like, okay, I got to work on this. And I did. That's kind of what I toned. So before I even did one single YouTube video, I feel like I'd already had the speaking part down. But in the end, some of it does just come down to, gift of gab. You can just be lucky with it. But I think I still have things I could work on. I could probably definitely work on talking so fast. People still tell me a comment I get a lot, especially to new viewers, or you talk so fast. And then other people are like, I have to put your videos on 1.5 speed. So who knows? Jared, I appreciate you, mate. Thank you. So I've been there, except I was replaced by AI at my old job. Stay strong. Maybe you can use a month to write. It's a good way to spend time. That's a plan. I said I've got some projects around the house, that I kind of been putting off, and I feel like I can tackle now. And yeah, finishing the story and maybe starting to edit. Maybe I can edit down what would potentially be a book one and say, hey, you know what? Let's go for it. I'm not there yet, but we'll see how it feels. I feel like if I get the courage enough to let my wife read it and she gives me good feedback, then maybe I would consider it. But I don't know. I it's scary, man. It's scary. But Jared, he flipped and his YouTube channel just exploded after he started doing it full time. I think that BookTube just kind of has a cap on things like that. I don't know. Maybe that's just me being negative about it. I don't know. I just feel like it's really tough for creators to try to do this full time now, unless they were already established enough. I like Jordan Love. I think he's good enough to win with. I'm just not sure if Matt LaFleur is good enough to win with. I can't believe they brought him back. And your idiot kicker. Oh my God, idiot kickers in the playoffs. They drive me crazy. I love the Saxon stories. Well, not the Saxon story. I've only read Last Kingdom, the first book, and I love the show, but I loved the Warlord Chronicles. So I'm sure I would love the Uhtred books as well. I appreciate you. Thank you. It's happening everywhere. It's really, really rough. And it's an industry that you want to get into, like I said, because it's booming and there's usually jobs and it pays very, very well. And the benefits are amazing. They offer pension and stuff, but you almost never make it there. It sucks. I do. We haven't started the fourth season yet, but we did watch the recap video. My wife and I last night watched a recap video. I was trying to convince her, like, I don't want to do weekly with the show. I like to binge a season of From, but she's just way too anxious. So I think there's two of them now. So we're gonna watch the first two probably this weekend. Toastmasters. I'm guessing that's like a toast, like cheers toast, not salud. Skull, not in like we're making some toast for some peanut butter or jam, right? I think so. And when I try to edit some of this stuff down, because I keep trying to make TikTok work, it's just I can't say anything quickly. So I'm editing. I've noticed I'm editing out, 1 or 2 second gaps like all the time. I'm like, I think that's just, the way that I speak. I think it makes it much more palatable, makes it more digestible for the listener. If you do take some of those pauses once in a while, it's not a dramatic thing. It's just something while you're looking for the right word. But I do notice it a lot with myself when I'm editing some of those videos. And the TikTok's it's never going to work for me. And I'm just not the target audience for TikTok. They want people that dance and sing or really, really attractive. And I'm not going to do any of those things, So I try to say, hey, maybe I can be a niche for the kind of booktube content book talk content that they don't have over there. But yeah, no such luck. People are like, oh, it's really great. All you got to do is have one video go viral. And it's like, I have a video that will take off like crazy on YouTube, and I'll put it on TikTok, and it's like 48 views. Thank you, Nick. That's very nice. That's I hate that that happened for you as well. Yeah, I never thought that I would feel enthusiastic about being unemployed, but I could not wait to get out of there because of that. It was just so awful. Oh man, that's talk about a motivation killer. Yeah, you get excited thinking you found something new, and then they lay you off too. Whew, gosh, rough. It's possible. It's possible. I know that. I think I'd probably like to get into medical, finance and medical. Working in the accounting department at like a hospital or something because it's evergreen. They're never going to get rid of those jobs. So in Houston, obviously, we have some of the best hospitals in the world. So I feel like there should be opportunities there. But I feel like that's one of those things. It's like oil and gas, is they want you to have that experience. And it's like, well, how do you break in? How do you get your foot in the door? And it feels like you just got to know somebody. I don't know anybody that works in the medical field, but we'll see what happens. I'm not pretentious at all, which I appreciate because I feel like BookTube can be real snobby even about stuff as fun as fantasy books. Thank you. That is the nicest compliment I've ever gotten. One thing I go out of my way not to be, guys, is pretentious. Well, I'm going to say, I think there's a way to have constructive criticism on something without being a jerk or sounding like a know-it-all. I will make something be like, hey, look, these are tropes that some authors are doing, and I wish they would stop. But I'm never ever going to be that. Hey, authors, stop doing this, or here's what you should do instead, because I clearly don't know. I'm just a dude. I have no idea. And now that I'm actually like trying to write something myself, I'm like, this is hard. This is very hard. But yeah, I can't be one of those people who's like, hey, here's what authors need to do better. I can't do that. I know that there's things that don't work for me, and I say that'll make me stop reading some of those things. But yeah, I don't know what boards of Canada are. Do you mean broads? Canadian broads? They still call them broads? I'll no doubt watch it. I mean, for anything, if just for the music. I mean, because MJ is one of the baddest to ever do it, man. I think thinking back to it, so I'm 6 when Thriller comes out, and I am not gonna lie to you, Michael Jackson was Elvis Presley for my generation. He was. That guy was just magnetic, could do no wrong, and his music today is still, it's like, oh, look at that. Michael Jackson's about to have 4 albums in the top 10 again, because of this movie. So if anything, it's bringing new generations to his music. My youngest the other day was watching the video for Smooth Criminal, and he's like, this is my favorite song. So I think that Michael Jackson's music will forever, ever be evergreen. It really, really will. So if it's getting new generations to listen to his music, then I am full support of that movie, no doubt. This isn't a real life friend, you guys. And, the only other real life friend I have that read fantasy before I started this channel. And it's been a real experience, watching him fall in love with Grimdark, because he didn't read Grimdark. He introduced me to Brandon Sanderson. I introduced him to Joe Abercrombie. He introduced me to Red Rising, honestly. We went and saw Pierce Brown together. But he knows my disdain for the YA love triangle. No, there is no love triangle in my story. It is a romance, but there's no love triangle. They're very much about each other until they aren't. I'll say that. But no, nothing like that. There's a lot of misery in the book. There is a lot of misery in the book. So I call it slow burn and yearn. But no, there is no love triangle. Nothing that I say I won't criticize any authors. I'll just say that there's things I don't like, and that's one of them. I mean, what do you consider fair criticism? I mean, it's all a matter of opinion, right? I mean, you think it's fair. I mean, if I tell someone, oh, you need to write better, I don't think that's fair, because maybe that's as good as they can write, and I don't think that that's a bad thing. Where not everybody's going to be Patrick Rothfuss or Christopher Rocchio when it comes to prose. Not everybody's Ray Bradbury or Robin Hobb. Some people just aren't built like that, and I don't feel like any amount of practice can make you be that good. You've either got it or you don't. It's like the best athletes, sometimes some of that talent is just God-given and you just luck out, good genes, whatever. But I when it comes to fair criticism, I think just not being a dick. I don't think that's not, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing hard about that. Not being a dick about your criticism. So that's why I try not to make too many of the books I thought I'd love, but I ended up hating, I'll do some books that let me down, but I'll always say that, I think I'm not saying these are bad books or these are bad authors. They're just, sometimes a book don't work for you, and I think that's fair. So, does that answer your question? Thank you. I appreciate that. It's one of those things where, even though that they've done a lot of things to really, really harm content creators the last handful of years, you get one nice message like that. You get one email of someone who says, hey, I was not reading at all in my life anymore, and this got me to stop drinking because I started reading and stuff. And that's stuff like that's just awesome. It's amazing to hear, and that's makes you want to just never ever quit doing this. Awesome, man. I'm glad you're getting into King. Yeah, there's a lot of content there for you to go back to dive into some really, really great books. Yeah, his music's untouchable. I mean, Thriller, Bad, Dangerous, those albums are perfect albums, man. Hell, even Off the Wall, I put Off the Wall on there too. Hell, I even liked Invincible. So yeah, Michael was one of one, no doubt. And people that say, well, what about the movie is very much it glosses over all the bad stuff. I mean, when a movie's controlled by the estate, that's what's gonna happen. That's just how it is. Like, go back and look at The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary. That was great, right? Yeah, where was all the bad stuff? Exactly, because Michael Jordan had creative control over it. So of course it's going to just be all the great stuff. But it was still really entertaining, right? So I think if you look at the Michael story as like, hey, this is what it's going to be like if they capture the pandemonium of what it was like during that time period and what it was like to see him live, then they, just like Bohemian Rhapsody, they've done something right. That's it. Armin is the best. Really, really great guy. He is one of the best people I know, no doubt. I'm not just saying that because he's here. He knows that. He knows that. My kids love him to death too. I think it can. I don't think it will. I think, okay, look, Mike Flanagan being in control of it would be the best case scenario. I still think he would make some changes because there's some things that just don't translate, I don't think. But I think it could. Just don't think it ever will. Probably that's because of budget too. It'd be very expensive, very, very expensive to do it right. And I just don't think that they would dedicate the time it takes to something like that. They'd either want to rush it or they'd want to change too much, or yeah, I just don't think it. Maybe if it was being done in the 90s, I don't know. I just don't think that they could do it right now. I I don't audio, so I don't know. Couldn't tell you. Oh, nice, nice. Some non-book stuff getting to persuading you guys. That's good. Persuade, and sway. That's a word. That's a new word I created. Persuade. This is why I'm not a writer, you guys. Persuade. I just said that. Dude, leftovers were so great, but Jesus, you need to make sure you are in a really, really good place of motion, because that show is soul crushing, man. Woo, my gosh. I didn't watch the new one. All I had to do was listen to what the showrunners were saying about it, and I was like, I ain't watching that crap. So all I watched was the old 90s made for TV one. It's good. It's very much made for TV. It was not AI yet. It's just, they didn't want to pay us benefits and they wanted to, have cheap labor. That's why a lot of them do it. But a lot of these major corporations are embracing AI now, and I'm sure they're trying to head that way. They would probably try to head that way, but they just don't know how to do that yet. But they're going to jump in both feet if they feel like they can save. If they save a buck, they're going to do it. And I mean, if you're being the business side of me is like, that's good business, man. Get save money where you can. Look, save the bottom line. I get it. So I understand that as a business major. I get that. I get that side of it. It's the but the human element of it is something I feel like still needs to be taken into consideration a little more than it is. It already was low before this AI boom, and now it's just like, well, we ain't considering anything. That your clients prefer a human touch, I think, as well. Watch 6 years, got 10 courses left. My management degree. Might do grad school. What careers do you recommend in the age of AI? Man, I have no idea what I'd tell someone to do right now. Things are just moving so quickly. I would always just tell people, go into a field where you're never going to have a hard time finding a job. For a while there, it was like IT work, and now people can teach you how to do that stuff on YouTube, but I don't know. I don't know what profession. I used to say teachers, but I feel like that's even starting to be rough. I can't tell you, man. I feel like a few years back, I say they're always going to need paper pushers. They're always going to need someone that can work the spreadsheets and do the taxes. But I don't even know anymore. I have no idea. It's really, really kind of freaky. I won't say no, but I'm not enthusiastic about it. I mean, I feel like if you're going to trash something, that's why I read Twilight too. I read 2 Twilight books, guys. Not proud of it, but I did it. I think if you're going to trash something, you need to check it out. You need to consume it to know what you're talking about. And so I don't say that I won't watch the new Harry. I just think it's unnecessary. I think that you're just going to be compared so much to what came before, and it just feels like a cash grab, really. And I just think that's dumb. But who knows? We'll see. I'm not even touching that one about Snape. I'm not even doing it. Not even going to do it. Not even going to do it. Yeah, plumbing. If you're any kind of contractor work where you can be self-employed, that's the way. Because here's one thing I'll say: that South Park episode was right. Nobody knows how to do shit anymore. Absolutely. I said we've got a wealth of knowledge. You can go on YouTube and you can learn how to take apart a cinder block out of an engine now and put it back together if you want to. If you want to put in the work. Nobody wants to put in the work anymore. Nobody knows how to do shit. I'm one of them, guys. I was raised by a single mother. I know how to cook a 7-course meal. I don't know how to replace spark plugs. So I feel like we have the wealth of knowledge at our fingertips, but nobody wants to do anything anymore. Nobody knows how to do anything anymore. So yeah, if you can get some kind of contract work, some kind of repair, especially home repair, car repair, you're golden. Go for it. That's why they're telling a lot of people, don't go to college, go to trade school. Like I said, a few years back, I'm like, no, that's bullshit. I went back to college and I doubled my salary. And here I am. 6 years almost to the day after I graduated, right back where I was. But I don't feel like I can blame my education for that. Here we go. Okay. Good for you, man. Awesome. Yeah, just here's the thing: is even the people who will say, "Okay, I can do it myself, and I'll watch on YouTube on how to do it," they still don't mess with electrical because you can die. They still won't mess with electrical, so they'll absolutely call out a professional to do that. Okay, here we go. Wrote my first novel, not publishing. It's a simple story about a small folk girl who gets married to an evil king and has to get out of the mansion. But I wrote her shoe's point of view. 130 pound shoe. Okay. Hey, I admire you for going for it, man. That's good. That's good. I didn't finish Summer of Night. That's definitely if I ever made a video of books that I'd like to try again, that would probably be pretty high on the list. The Passage would be pretty high on the list. Books that sound like they should have been for me, and for whatever reason I bounced off of them. I think that would definitely be up there for sure. My favorite character in Red Rising is Victra. I love Victra. She makes me think of like what would Buffy the Vampire Slayer do in that universe? That's Victra. No nonsense, to the point. She will kick your ass, and she'll give you a nice one-liner after she does it. I love Victra. I think she's awesome. She's so awesome. But yeah, the Red Rising series, Dark Age is rough, man. And I wish I could tell you that Lightbringer it gets better. I'll leave it at that. And this is what I was trying to explain to somebody the other day. They were like, "Oh, why didn't you just like do that yourself?" I'm like, "Look, I'm at the point in life where I know I can't do these things, and if I try to do that, then I have to pay someone to come out and fix it, and then probably replace it. So I'm just paying twice. So no, I am at the point in life where I said I'm just going to pay someone, a professional, to go take care of it. That's the best way. It will always be Buffy. Buffy's my thing. Love it. Yeah, Victor's great. She is great. I thought I saw John pop in somewhere. I see John. Hey, John. There he is. I think so. I want to think, like I said, that I did say if I felt like I was stagnating here, I wasn't going to stay. Just like I said, I wish it had been on my own terms instead of being told, "Hey, you're amazing. You're so good at this. You're awesome. We love you, but we're not keeping you." And some of that I feel like is just canned HR kind of responses, but seeing this process about like how helpless they were on some things and they needed me so much, I'm just like, you couldn't keep me though, huh? Okay, awesome. It did. I think the live action One Piece is great, and to me, it's one of those things that like if One Piece is actually like possible in live action, I don't feel like there's anything that's unfilmable anymore. It's just how much you're going to go for it. Hmm. Man, I don't know. I have no idea. Because this isn't meant as a slight to Evan Winter. I think he's a talented author, but it's just like it's not like those books are so overly complex. You're not doing Winds of Winter here. I have no idea what's taking so long. But you know what? You don't know what everybody's life is like. Maybe he's got some personal things going on. So I don't know what the deal is. I never thought it would take. It's been like 5, 6 years now. I was raised Pentecostal. You tell me. I didn't just read Revelations over and over again, but we do it pretty well. I get asked this a lot, especially for people who come and visit. And I tell people that the best barbecue that I have are not at restaurants. It's from people that I know. There are people who take that as a competitive sport. And I am happy to go over and test your brisket for you because brisket's too expensive and I don't know how to make it. So I would absolutely recommend just getting to know some people in Texas and coming and trying some of their barbecue because they're the type that get insulted if you use barbecue sauce. You don't need it because it's so good. You can cut it with a plastic fork. That's the good stuff, man. But there's lots of good restaurants. Killen's is good. I mean, John Gwynn never wrote a book I didn't like, so sure. You're not alone on that. Lots of people say Brandon Sanderson's overrated. I mean, when you're, I guess you'd say the number one seed in anything, people are going to call you overrated. And I think that, yeah, I think that Brandon Sanderson, he's gotten the reputation he has for a reason. He's very good at what he does, and he knows his audience. And I'm never going to trash that, but he's not an author for everybody. I definitely get that. I thought so. Not Pentecostal anymore. And if you were Pentecostal, I'm taking nothing away from you. Just say that wasn't for me. Is that a Bob Dylan book? Hard rain is going to fall? I don't know. What's hard rain falling? You would think that HR jobs are secure. Like I said, it's just such a tough industry to break into if you don't have any experience. And my wife was like, "You really want a job where you're just like firing people?" I was like, there's more to HR than firing people, but that's the reputation it gets. But like I said, I think I'm a good problem solver. I feel like I can always get people to talk to each other. I'm a really good communicator, obviously, and so I feel like that's a field that I'd be really, really good at. It's just trying to get anyone to give you a shot when you have no experience in it. It's rough, especially like I said, at 47, making a career change. It's not exactly people really looking for candidates like that, especially with a flooded job market. Rudy's, okay, yeah. I'm actually pretty easy on barbecue, guys. It's like you have to be really bad for me not to like barbecue. And I won't say that you can't mess up barbecue, because if you go north of the Mason-Dixon line, you can mess up some barbecue. Sorry, Yankees, you can't do it. You just don't get it. I am not an elitist when it comes to barbecue. Like in Texas, if you say, "Oh, I like Kansas City barbecue," or "I like Southeast barbecue," Carolina and Atlanta and things like that, they get insulted. Not me. I feel like there's everything South barbecue is really, really good, up to and including Tex-Mex. But when you get into up there and let's just say anything in the coasts, no, it ain't real. And I mean like the Northeast in the West Coast. That's what I say. I'm a 34 single with a dead end job, living in Washington State, working. I barely afford life, and I would give my library away to live the life you live. Well, I mean, I think it's one of those things where people always feel like the grass is greener. I try to be as transparent as I am about life. To me, it's a simple life, family, kids, listening to music, reading books. It's nothing that's is exciting, but for me, that's what I wanted. That meme from Rogue One where it's like it's a peaceful life. Yeah, that's the life for me. But keep on keeping on, man. Just keep on keeping on, and what's going to happen will happen. Just don't be a victim of it. That's what I would say. Just came back from the movies watching Michael. Thank you, Timothy, for the super chat. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. Did you read all the Aragon books? Book 2 was hard. Now, I have read Aragon twice. I'm about to read it a third time. I stopped on Eldest twice in the same place. If you just heard this story, I'm sorry. I did talk about it on my TBR video the other day. I stopped on Eldest in the same place twice. The first time, I just said, I think maybe I'm a little too old for this. And I wasn't the kind of reader I am now, where I can take a step back and be like, well, not everything has to be, age appropriate. You can just have some fun. And when I first started doing this channel, was like, I had just gotten so many recommendations. I was excited, and I was like, I don't want to waste my time on this anymore. But this time, partially because I got those amazing broken binding editions that look just stunning, I said, I want to finally do this and be able to talk about it. Because my wife finished the series like when it came out, like 15 years ago. And she kept on telling me to finish it so she could talk to me about it. And now I'm going to finish it. And she's going to be like, I don't remember this because that was so long ago. Best prologue or first chapter you ever read? It might be recency bias, but The Darkness That Comes Before might be the best prologue I've ever read. You want a prologue that's just going to absolutely blow you away and hook you and make you, I've got to read to see where the hell this is going. Now, it's not for the faint of heart. It is very, very brutal. It is messed up. And if you are triggered by anything, I'd probably stay away. But that's book 1 in Prince of Nothing by R. Scott Baker, in case you're wondering. But yeah, that prologue was incredible. I still think about that prologue sometimes. It's really good. Chicago, what a great band. I feel like Chicago doesn't get any respect because they became just like a punchline in the 80s for like the soft rock love ballad, which were good too. But like 60s and 70s Chicago, gangsters, man. So good. So good. Any band that can just full on rock like that and have like an 8-piece jazz band in it. So good. Love them. We got I have Chicago Greatest Hits on vinyl. We listened to that the other day. God, it's so good. So good. Check out, if you have never listened to Chicago, go listen to Beginnings, like the full version, like the album version. It's like 8 minutes long. Superb. One of the most impossible not to sing along to choruses of all time. Beginnings by Chicago. Check it out. A lot of people don't even know who that is. Chicago. They were watching Cobra Kai and what God, what was the kid's name? Anyway, he's like, oh yeah, I was hanging out with Daniel and I was listening to Chicago. And Peter Cetera is awesome, and Johnny Lawrence is like, no, he's fucking not, because he's so metal. So they know it more from that joke than anything else. But Cobra Kai was so good. See how I derail, guys? I derail so easily. I forgot the original question. Here we go. Okay, Eldest was I'm guessing a hard read. I had to pause and start again. I haven't read Inheritance or ℕ𝕤𝕤𝕣𝕠 yet. Yeah, I've heard some people. I mean, I saw even Christopher Paolini. If you follow him, he's actually a pretty good Twitter follow, and he was saying that he's tempted all the time, with the kind of writer that he is now, to go back and rewrite like the first couple of books in that series, but he resists that urge because there's so many other things that he wants to write. So I think what he's going to do is, because I think he's writing the adaptation that Disney Plus is doing, I think you're going to see some changes there, stuff that he wishes he could go back and do. Now, I hope they aren't changes like you usually expect with Disney Plus material. But when you've got the author working on it, I'm hoping, I hope he doesn't do what Rick Riordan did to Percy Jackson. Jesus. It's like, look, those movies were bad. I was like, you didn't really fix a lot of the problems, though, man. I felt like what you did with Percy Jackson was, it's like the live action Avatar adaptation Netflix is doing, where it's like, sure, the story's there, but you've taken all of the fun out of the story. Like when I was reading Percy Jackson with my oldest kid, I was having a great time. It was serious, but I was having a great time the whole time you're reading that. You didn't take it too seriously, but it had the serious moments. Whereas I feel like in a post Game of Thrones world, they feel like they've got to make everything Game of Thrones. And then you look at Avatar: The Last Airbender on Netflix, and you look at Percy Jackson, the new series on Disney Plus. It's just like, where is the fun? Where is the adventure? Everything is just so deathly serious. And I feel like that's just not the vibe that you get. You go watch Avatar: Last Airbender, the cartoon, and it's incredible. It's incredible. It's fun, but it has incredibly competent storytelling. Some of the best character arcs and writing I've ever seen on TV. It's like, why can't you just do that? You can still have fun. And that's what I think One Piece is working, because they're still having fun on One Piece, but they're hitting those emotional notes that they need to hit. It's a formula that's tried and true. I don't know why there's such a problem. See, I should work in TV. But like, I know what people want. I don't know. What is that quote from? Everybody needs a little time away, I heard her say, from each other. Because, man, is that the truth? Or is that a Chicago lyric? No, that is brought up. I feel like I know it. I recognize it. I know. I was like, I felt like the casting was really good. I felt like they were following the books better, but it was just so deathly serious. And it's like, man, I hate this. I've only read Slaughterhouse-5, but I love it. I love it. I have that, I have that Vonnegut shirt, but I've never actually read that book. But yeah. Oh, there we go. What I have been told is like in India, there's like they just have so many jobs, but that this is the people that we were training was actually telling me this, that they have so many jobs, but they pay so poor that what they do is they'll take anything just to kind of keep working their way up, because all the rates start so poor. But it's like, it's not hard finding work. It's just hard finding good paying work. I'm not mad at them. They didn't do it. They didn't do it. But Indian food's good. Indian food's really good. Really, really good. I thought this is, how's the Kobe video going? I was like, I'm not making a video on Kobe. If I did, it'd be like, hey, here's why Kobe is actually the player of the generation and not LeBron. Yeah, that'd be a nice hot take, wouldn't it? The Kobe video, look, I got it right here. The thing was, is like, I was going to try to do this, and I was just working on it one night, and I was like, I just didn't like the way that anything was working out, and the way the lighting was going. And I just said, you know what? When I've got those few weeks before I start looking for anything, I'll get that going. But yeah, that's in the plans here for the next week or two to get that review out finally. I've got everything I want to talk about ready. I couldn't get any of the camera angles and stuff right, and the lighting. I just didn't feel like messing with it right then. Favorite live albums? Oh man, well, so Kiss Alive is obviously the go-to. Actually, I like Alive 2 better than Alive 1. Frampton Comes Alive might be the greatest live album of all time. There's so many. And I can't think of them when someone asks me that question and they start popping up a bunch of live albums like, oh yeah. So there's some really, really great, if you can capture that electricity that some live acts have, like AC/DC live or something. That's really great stuff. There are some live albums where I'm just like, I'm not interested. I like your album stuff. And there's things that, like, I feel like if you're going and seeing them concert, that's different. But just to listen to a live album, Metallica's live shit was God. I played that nonstop as a kid because I feel like, again, it captured what made them so entertaining to see live. But I don't know. It's one of those that, like, when people start naming a bunch of live albums, like, oh yeah, that's definitely one. But thinking about it off the top of my head, I just really always just go straight to Frampton Comes Alive because I've listened to that about 400 times. All I want to be is by your side. So good. So good. Frampton, guys. Any generation can listen to Frampton Comes Alive and enjoy it. I do think. Yeah, that Seattle show was rocking, man. Absolutely. Thank you. I try not to be. I think I would just be aghast if someone called me pretentious. I'd be like, really? Gosh. Neil Peart's drum solo in YYZ on Exit Stage Left is just fascinating. At the time I heard that, the first time I heard that, I was like, I had no idea you could even do something like that with cowbells. It's incredible what he does in that live album. Neil was the best, still the greatest of all time. I put Keith Moon right behind him. Maybe put Ginger Baker up there. I don't know, but for me, it's just I love Danny Carey from Tool. That one comes up a lot as well. But for me, Neil Peart was one of a kind. Absolutely. Oh, no doubt. That's the thing is the Texans. You score 14 points, you don't turn the ball over. I think they can beat anybody. But we saw in the playoffs they turn the ball over. They're very beatable. So it's definitely entertaining to watch. As a defense first guy, it's entertaining to watch, but it's very frustrating when I'm like, you've got a generational defense and you can't get past the divisional round. What the hell is going on? I felt like last year was their greatest chance ever to make a Super Bowl. Okay. All right. A country song or album. Look, I love Kenny Rogers. Kenny Rogers is brilliant. I love him. My wife loves Dolly and Reba. Yeah, and I'm a fan as well. George Strait. I play the hell out of some George Strait. Classic country. Before country went pop. Country's just straight pop now. But yeah, Toby Keith. I actually hung out with Toby Keith one time. Great guy. Absolutely. He's exactly what you think Toby Keith is like. That's what he's like in person. He's awesome. He's awesome. And you're getting drunk if you're hanging out with Toby Keith. Never got into him. My wife likes some of his stuff, though. I like Tim McGraw. Tim McGraw's pretty good. Slapping the Beals. I had that part of the movie where he downloads the songs on his laptop. He's like, "Get ready to rock." He's like, play a Tom Sawyer because the speakers are so bad. Yeah, the perfect country and western song. I played that one many a time. I was drunk the day my mom got out of prison. So good. So good. So, my mom was a real big country fan. So you're around your parents, at least in my generation, you were listening to what your parents would listen to. After a while, it was impossible not to eventually get onto it. Of course, Johnny's the greatest. I don't listen to very much modern stuff, but the stuff I've heard of his, I do like. He did the national anthem before, I think, the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Awesome. Love Jim Croce. That's one of the biggest what ifs in music, man. Right when that guy was blowing up, his plane crashed. It's so sad because the output that he had in like 2 or 3 years of work, incredible. I have his greatest hits album on vinyl. It's so good. Operator's amazing. Time in a Bottle. I Have a Name is just one of my favorite songs ever. I think that guy's amazing. I have to say I love you in a song. Jim Croce didn't have bad songs. He doesn't have that many of them, but God, they're good. So good. See, now you guys are hitting my sweet spot here. Some good old 70s soft, good old, not quite folk, but not quite like hard rock. So obviously Fleetwood Mac's one of my favorite bands of all time. Really gotten more into Bob Dylan the older that I've gotten. I was sitting here and say he can't sing, but I can't deny the guy's talent as a song. He's maybe the greatest songwriter of all time. Not named Lennon or McCartney. So yeah, I like some give me some acoustic guitar rock. I think it's really, really good stuff. That's kind of my sweet spot these days. I get this request a lot to read The Magicians, and I don't know if it's because people want to see me like rage about it or they think I'll actually like it. Can't even tell. So good. Yeah, you don't mess around with Jim. He's awesome, man. So good. I didn't, man. I think about that. I used to never miss WrestleMania, and it's just I saw a infographic that popped up that showed like how long WrestleMania was, and that it was just barely over an hour of actual wrestling. And just like that's just that they had more of the entrance times for these wrestlers than they did actual mat time. That's incredible. It just got me thinking, like, remember when we all thought that once Vince was gone, things would get better? Yeah, that was hilarious, wasn't it? That product's just it's just broken. It's just so slow. It's so slow. I thought that when they went on Netflix, things would change, but it's just so slow. It's just it has more ads than YouTube. Now, you guys are watching. I'm sure you're probably mad about the ads. I mean, how do you think content creators feel? We're mad about the ads too. You think, oh well, you're getting paid. Not what you think we're getting paid, not for the number of ads we get. My goodness. Wait. Bob Dylan contribution was so bad she ended up leaving early. And a lot of things are like people were saying, hey, if you could go see any of your favorite bands, today, who were there? I was like, I don't think I want to go see them. They're all too old now and they need to retire because they don't sound good. They don't. Like someone posted a video of Stevie Nicks. Stevie Nicks is my favorite female vocalist of all time, guys. I love her. She can do no wrong in my eyes. That's my queen. That's my goddess. I mean, it has been since I was a young man. I love Stevie Nicks. She's 77 and her voice is gone. She needs to stop. It's rough. Some people got it until they die. Rod Stewart, I think, still sounds good, and he's like 80. Mick Jagger somehow is still doing it, but there's some of them. It's just like, I don't think I want to see any of my rock heroes anymore. I finally was getting The Who off my list. They actually still sounded pretty good. And in the middle of that concert, Roger got sick, and they canceled the show like 6 songs in because he couldn't sing anymore. And they said they'd make it up. And we find out later he had the virus shall not be named, and then that show never got made up. So it's like The Who was one of my favorite bands of all time. And I was finally getting that off of my bucket list. And just another thing that the virus shall not be named did ruin for us. He can't get up there like he used to, but man, he's still really damn good. And I mean, who can get up there? I mean, his vocal range he's the metal Freddie Mercury. Like his vocal range is just sick. But who can do that forever and to the age that he is and hit those high notes? It's insane. Paul's still quite good. No doubt. Paul is still quite good. I saw him in 2002, I think, and I was just blown away. This guy played for 3.5 hours. I was like, that's amazing. And he sounds great then. And apparently he still sounds really good. I've seen Billy, gosh, I think 3 times. I think the Billy, if you make him, you actually like gun to head, make my wife pick a favorite artist of all time. She'll probably say Billy Joel. No doubt. That's why I keep buying new Billy Joel vinyls because I know she loves it. And that's my way of saying thank you for her letting me move the stereo back in the living room again. Is his voice gone? Yeah, I think the last time we saw him was probably a year or 2 before that. Last time we saw Kiss. I'm not a snob. Whichever one I didn't have to pay for really is probably my favorite. I do. Here's the thing. I used to drink like stout and lager and things like really dark beers when I was like 300 pounds. Now I get drunk off them like too quick. So I made that switch to IPA, which I know is very, very controversial. People have very, very strong opinions about IPA. But really these days, because, you lose that much weight and I lost my tolerance, is that if I drink beer now, I get drunk too fast because I still drink it really, really quick. And I just really now usually just get like Modelo with a lime or something like that, just because you can drink that all day and not get smashed, really. Oh, I saw that clip of David Lee Roth the other day. Oh my Lord, that was painful. It's like, so we're really just there to watch you just like walk around and listen to your backup singers. My goodness, please stop. Yeah. Sure, it's a case by case basis. There are some that still sound really good and still deserve to be doing what they're doing. I think that James' voice from Metallica still sounds pretty good. But yeah, there's some of my heroes, like I said, some of my 70s rock heroes. It's really to the point where it's like, oh man, stop. Please don't do this. Yeah, I get smashed way too quick now. Way too quick. That's why me and my wife, every once in a while we'll bust out the wild turkey in with some Pepsi or something, and it's very little, because I will get gone too quick now. It's just it sucks. So I had that Irish blood for a long time. I thought that was what was making it to where I could drink so much. Just turned out I was fat. That's why I could drink so much. Hey Zoe or Z. You always hope it's one of those things that'll be a blessing in disguise. I said I worked for that one company for 11 years, and it was a blessing because it made me go back to school and finally graduate. And like I said, double my salary, and now I'm right back here. So hopefully that happens again. And people are like, hey, you can go back and get your master's now. I'm like, I don't know. I don't. I'd have got my master's when I was first doing this if I didn't have to take that statistics class again, because I feel like when you go to college as an adult, it's so much easier because you take it so much more seriously and you don't bullshit. And you're like, look, anything less than an A, and I feel like I'm failing. What am I doing? And then I got to business statistics 2. In that class, like I was studying. So I was taking 5 classes. I went full time. I was taking 5 classes, and I think I was studying more for statistics 2, more for that class than I was the other 4 classes combined. Like in it, I was still barely struggling, and I would have graduated summa cum laude if it wasn't for that statistics class. It was the only C I got my entire run through college. Everything else was A's. I got a B in business law too, as well. But yeah, it's like that class ruined my perfect GPA. I ended with a 3.93. And then I learned that, hey, no one in job interviews ask you what your GPA was in college. But it was like, it was the fact of the matter. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. We got some Gentleman Jack left. We're probably going to have some of that with some Seeger tonight. Wife's a big Seeger fan as well. And that was something that there's certain artists that just sound so much better on vinyl. You will get those old heads who will tell you, oh, once you hear it on vinyl, you never hear it another way. I don't agree with that necessarily, but there are certain artists, Creedence Clearwater Revival, Bob Dylan, Bob Seger, that just sound so much better on vinyl. It's just like undeniable. So I got his great live album, Live Bullet. That's another great live album. We're listening to that tonight because my wife was like, I don't know if I need a live album. I'm like, that's the album that helped me discover Bob Seger. Turn the page. Hello. And so we're going to play that tonight. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I don't know what Ramayan is. Big adaptation coming. Remember Hans Zimmer doing the music? Read it. So worth it. Okay. I'll check it out. Ramayan. I do this sometimes when I'm on these. Look up a book right here. I keep Goodreads open for this reason. Ramayan, shortened modern prose version, 3392 AD, Volume 1. Is that what you're talking about? Ooh, this looks heavy. Sweet cover, though. Deepak Chopra? Is that what I'm looking for? Okay, I'm going to put it on one to read. I'm getting messages again like crazy. What's going on here? What did I get refunded for? Okay. You like hearing you got a refund. You don't like hearing that you got charged for something or you owe somebody money. How are you going to celebrate finishing your book? I'll probably cry if I'm being completely transparent with you. Like I said, I feel like if you had 2 best friends, from college age to your 30s, and you were always, like not necessarily that third wheel, but you were just there experiencing their relationship the whole time, where you almost felt like it was like you were part of that relationship just because you had watched them the whole time. And, then you just, one day you don't see them anymore. It's going to be tough. Very, very tough. I don't know. I'm not familiar with the Midnight. Are they modern or are they older? Retro wave? So like 80s? Or are they trying to sound like 80s, like that? Did I miss the first part of the question? We would just take turns picking albums, Sometimes it's ones that we both love. Sometimes it's just to show the other one, something that we love. It's not just exclusively just, LPs. We both still got our CDs. My wife still has cassettes. She had a Police cassette one night that she played. That'll be next week. I mean, that's the thing is a lot of people like here. My wife said the same thing. And when we're having these album nights, I played the timeless Bee Gees collection for her and all the stuff pre 70s, and she was stunned how much she knew, and she just had no idea it was them. So I think you'd hear some songs and be shocked that you didn't know it was them. It's definitely going around. It's definitely going around. I can't speak for everybody, but for me, there's been some times where I'm like, I gotta stop right now. I feel like this is affecting my mood. Like I said, that when I was writing the story, I was first describing it as a love tragedy. And then someone told me you have to have an absolutely miserable ending to call it a love tragedy. I was like, well, I don't know if I'm going there. I don't necessarily know it's a happy ending, but I know it's not going to be miserable. So that's why I just went back to saying this, like it's a love story, just putting it that way. But yeah, when you're dealing with the pain and yearning of separation or loss or something like that, you're really pouring your heart into that, and that can be painful if you aren't set your boundaries first. And this being my first time, I set no boundaries. You know how to do CPR because of the Bee Gees. I don't get the joke. Is that a joke? I don't get the joke. Good Lord. Email nonstop. Okay. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Please don't encourage me. Usually I'm like, hey, thanks for the encouragement. And I'm just like, no, don't. Please don't. Please don't. That would be no. What fantasy books do you recommend when you have fantasy burnout, or you just recommend to stay away for a while? Because I've been reading or having a great time reading some horror. I always say a standalone is really, really great, and there's not very many of those in fantasy. So switch genres is always the best plan of action. But for me, yeah, horror is a great go-to. This month I'm doing Lovely Bones. Last month I did Shutter Island. So I just always do some type of standalone. So I always make that video every year, some standalones I want to do, because as fantasy readers, you do book 1 of 8 and things like that, and they're all like 700-800 pages. You need something shorter, something with a smaller cast, something maybe a little more grounded. I think it can help everybody. Freebird never gets old. I have not read any J.D. Barker, but that sounds like an interesting smash up there. Smash up, mash up. Again, see why I'm not a writer, guys? I don't know how to talk, much less write. Yeah. Yeah, it's scary, man. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I feel like the way they did it, I actually appreciated it because, like, they first told us last May that this was more likely than not. So they gave us plenty of time to go look for something else. And to me, I was just like, look, I put into this work with the company. I'm getting that severance time. I'm getting my vacation time paid. Because I had like 250 hours of vacation time. I'm getting that vacation time paid up. I'm getting that. You can pay me to go look for a new job. And I did think, okay, when I got like a month left, I'll start going. But I was so drained. I was like, I don't want to go job searching right now. So we'll see what happens now. I have an agent, and she's gonna hopefully get some things in my hands here relatively quickly. We'll see. This is nice fun. It'd be nice double dipping, but I'm also like what Jared said earlier. It'd be kind of nice to take like a month for myself. That'd be neat. When's the last time, plenty of vacation time, but no one's taking I haven't taken like a month off, since I was back when I was in school, which I'd argue was almost more work sometimes. I've never read Tom Clancy. I've only watched a handful of the movies, and those were because Harrison Ford was in them. I think with that is like I think back to high school, and it seemed like there was 2 different camps. There was the Stephen King, Anne Rice, Michael Crichton crowd. That's what I was, and there was the Tom Clancy, John Grisham crowd. That's kind of how I felt like people were when I was in high school. So I felt like they kind of fell in those little buckets there. Oh, Tragedy is a cover band of disco, a Bee Gees stuff, huh? Okay. Tragedy's a good bit. They're a good Bee Gees song too. So that makes sense. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I've heard of them. I didn't know they were a Bee Gees cover band though. Oh, it's expensive everywhere. It is definitely. I'm glad that my kids are the age now to where we can leave them home alone and stuff, and not have to do that. Nope. Lots of people on a lot of my patrons do. They talk about those very, very much. Is that Michael Connolly? I do like the one Bosch book I've read, and I like the TV show. So I'm sure that what I said when I read Michael Connolly was like, maybe I don't dislike crime novels. Maybe I just never read good ones. And Michael Connolly is very good, very, very good. It's just another word for a headhunter. They have the connections. They know exactly what they pay. These companies pay that person to go and find exactly what they want, or candidates that pass like a pre-screening. Like they know that this person's competent. This person's got a good job record. This person would be very, very good for that. And they recommend you. They get you the interview. You don't have to actually put your resume out there and apply and all that stuff on your own. But you can also get lots of opportunities that you probably would have never found, because they don't just put their ad on LinkedIn or in the newspaper or something. They still do that in the newspaper. They still have the one ads in the newspaper. I'm sure they do. Just all probably on websites now. But yeah, it's different than going on like Indeed or something like that and looking for a job. I always say go with Blackmouth. I'd be stunned if a Stephen King fan didn't like Blackmouth. Really, really would. Like I said, if things were like they were 4 or 5 years ago, maybe they make it really hard for content creators to do this as a job now. It's really, really rough. I don't know how much you guys think we make off this, but it's not near what you think. Definitely not. It's definitely not quit your job money. At least not for me. I do. I just don't believe that. I just don't believe that LinkedIn's actually like a real job opportunity thing. It's just Facebook for professionals. That's what I feel like it is. Look how great I am at my job. I feel like that's just what LinkedIn's become. Are you doing the bar? What you doing? CPA test? Whatever it is, man. Good luck. Good luck. Thank you. I think we'll be okay. All right. We're not stressed about it yet. I did like the books 1 and 2 were great. 3, but yeah, sure. If I ever printed my book in a physical format, I would absolutely sign it for you. Sure, absolutely. Yeah, it'd be cool to explain these things to Patrick and have him like create this art, and I'll be like, wow, that's how I didn't even imagine it, because it's so much better than what I imagined. I don't even know that Broken Binding would be interested in a love story. They just now, like the last year or two, got into sci-fi. So yeah, I don't imagine that happening, but I appreciate it. It's great, man. Be your own boss. That's the best way. That's it, man. That's smart. There's a lot of people telling me that's what you should do. You should get some like HR certifications if you want to get in that field. And I was like, I just feel like I would do that work and get those certifications, and then people would just want to hire me for finance. Okay, maybe so. Maybe so. I just can't think of very many success stories I've heard from LinkedIn, but that I might just be full on ignorant of it. Like I said, I've been using an agent since 2007, but I've only had 2 jobs since then. I stayed at one for 11 years and the other one for 5 years. And, the 2 years between that, I went back to school. I don't think that Broken Binding is doing Dune, really. That would be neat. I mean, they're doing Lonesome Dove. So, I'm iffy on Fisherman. It's like I really liked how it started, and I also liked the story inside. But it's like I wish he just picked one, either do a period piece or do that framing story. I don't feel like he needed that framing story for that period piece he wanted to tell. So that was my biggest criticism of it. But I think he's talented, definitely. Okay, is this the one that Sons of Darkness is kind of loosely based on? because I actually have that one on my list to read this year, The Sons of Darkness. Oh God, what's that author's name? I got it right over there. Guru Mahanti, I think is his name. I want to say that he based it off some kind of Hindu epic. I think maybe this is the one. 2-hour job search. Okay. Right. I don't know about seconds because I am going to try to be picky. Some people don't tell you. It's okay. Yeah. That's the one. That's the one. What some people don't tell you is that everyone thinks you just go into a job and you're negotiating your salary. It's like you can negotiate your vacation time, and that's a big one for me. Worked in this industry for so many years. I'm like, I'm not taking your 1 week of vacation time. I got kids and stuff, man. Come on, I need more vacation time than that. So yeah, always ask for more vacation time. But for me, the biggest thing, like I said, is just I love the hybrid work schedule. I do like working in an office, but I also, like working in pajama pants, So I like to be able to work from home a couple of days a week and go to the office for some others. But I haven't even thought of it, man, because like I said, I don't know. I don't know. I guess the real twist would be is to use a pen name, but let everybody know it was me. Right? I have no idea. They don't tell me nothing. They don't tell me nothing. Maybe Dresden Files or something like that. I could see something that is a little bit modern, something that people complain about not. They seem to really try to target some stuff that's hard to get matching editions, like they did with Malazan. Stuff that's hard to get matching editions, or it's hard to find hardcover copies of those earlier books. So that's why I would use my sleuthing skills to say maybe something like Dresden Files. See, great minds, my friend. Great minds. I don't know where she got these. My wife got these. That's it. That's it. Favorite broken binding cover. Gosh, I really like the ones for Aragon. Not just Aragon, but the Inheritance Cycle as a whole. But the Magician one's really good too. Raymond Fay is really, really good. But Broken Bind doesn't really put out anything ugly, I don't think. I didn't even make it through book one. Like I really loved the first half, and then they did like the time jump, and I just could never couldn't keep my interest after that. So, but it's just so many Stephen King fans that go on and on about how they think they I should absolutely love the Passage trilogy. So I definitely think I should try it again. Yeah, we're gonna do some stuff again soon. We got so busy in October that we didn't even get to watch all those movies. Didn't realize hey, we had planned a vacation in the middle of October and all that. When you take a week-long vacation, it's hard to get anything back on schedule. But I'm hoping with this situation, one of the positives I can pull out is doing more content over on Mike's Media Reviews, and that would be some of those with my wife as well. That's not funny. Shut up, Brian. He acted like I was some kind of fall down drunk when I was in Barbados or something. I was not. I was having a drink. That was actually in Mexico when I made that Vanished Birds video. But yeah, Mexico Mike is much more dangerous than Barbados Mike. Barbados Mike is just a little chill. Dark Tower. I would absolutely love for Broken Bind to do Dark Tower. I think the art would be amazing for that. And I like the art that's been done for it, but I don't love it. I think it could be done so much better. It blows my mind to think about what they would do with that. When am I going to do Sandman Slam? I don't know. I don't know why I put it off. I think it's just because I've been, I know that this is a sensitive topic for some people, but be truthful. I always try to be honest with you guys about this. I never let anybody's race, gender, any of that stuff determine if I'm going to read their book. But I do want to find more female authors that I like. And a lot of the female authors I want to try are in urban fantasy. And that's why I tried Patricia Briggs. That's why I'm also reading about Ilona Andrews, Kate Daniels now. So I think that's just kind of why I pushed Sandman Slam back a little bit. It's like I wanted to try some of these female authors in urban fantasy. And I think it's just because I've been wanting something that just fills that Buffy size hole in my heart. And I felt like Kate Daniels was the best opportunity to do that. And that's kind of why I went the route that I did. But I'm never going to run out of things to read. And, Sandman Slim, I think I still have it behind Eric Carter, but Sandman Slim will happen. I've got something on the way. I think it's getting delivered today. And here's the thing, guys, is when you're a rep for them, you don't know what they're sending you. But I did get a notification that something is coming to me from Broken Binding, and it should be here today. And I'm thinking that it's the Hyperion books. I hope. Yeah, it's out for delivery. So hopefully I have very, very good news and say, hey, I got those Hyperion books. Because, man, they're beautiful. Here's the thing is, they tell me anything I want, just let them know, and they'll send it to me. But I'm just like, I appreciate anything you guys send, absolutely anything that you guys send. So I never want to just be the type who's just like, oh, yeah, send me everything. I'm trying not to do that and take advantage of something like that. Plus, I don't have the space. But there are certain series I'm like, I need this. I do need this. Wait, this is a good one. Outside of Lovecraft and Howard, who's your favorite pulp weird fiction master? Going through my weird fiction reread recently. Edgar Rice Burroughs, guys. Edgar Rice Burroughs, Tarzan. If you read John Carter of Mars, Barsoom, I don't know if you necessarily consider it very much like weird fiction, but he's very much going to scratch that itch, I think. He was the sci-fi equivalent of those two. And I think that his stuff is just timeless. Because you can go and read Barsoom right now. And sure, there's some things that'll be a little dated because these are old books. But you won't think they're as old as they actually are. They feel a little bit more modern than that. And the John Carter series is so good, guys. So good. I've heard that. What's my dream team collaboration? I think Pierce Brown and Joe Abercrombie would write a banging sci-fi book. It would just be so grim that no one could handle it. Hey, what's up? I was just talking about when the Texans jumped you guys to take Caden McDonald. So I was like, go big or go home. But hey, I think you guys had a great draft. I really did. And Harbaugh's going to turn that program around. I'm really worried still about your management. But I just don't feel like Harbaugh would have took that job if he doesn't have control. Because I think he had those offers other places. But good to see you, friend. Thank you, Alicia. Appreciate that. Good to see you as always. Yeah, they look stunning. That first one was really great. Yes, everybody's getting their Hyperion, so hopefully that's what it is. Hopefully. I just don't believe it'll happen. I don't think it'll happen. I think they'll see how much it costs. And I mean, they already did a pilot once and they didn't pick it up. And I just feel like they'll see how much it costs because I know Mike Flanagan, he'd rather not do it than do it unfaithfully. And I think that he'll probably embrace some of the weirdness and they'll see the budget and they'll be like, no, that ain't it. Because they'll want millions of viewers. They'll want HBO kind of accolades or millions of viewers to spend that much. They'll spend that much on Rings of Power and nobody likes it. But, that's a passion project for Bezos. I don't see that Amazon forking over that kind of money for Dark Tower. They don't have a very good track record when it comes to fantasy adaptation. So I didn't hate season 2, but maybe I don't know. I think when it comes to adaptation with that, I know how upset George is, and I get it. I think that that's the one book that George has written where there is wiggle room to change things because it's all hearsay. It's all friend of a friend of a friend. It's all being told by historians that admit they have biases. So I feel like there's wiggle room to change some things in there. But I didn't dislike season 2. I really felt like it was a bummer because it didn't end with a big battle. And I was like, same people said that same thing about Shogun. And I was like, that's what the story was. Shogun's story was not about the battle. It was about everything happening behind it. And it was the way that it ended was beautiful. And that's why I think season 2 of Shogun's going to be a mistake because James Clavell isn't here to write it. It's fan fiction. But with House of Dragon, look, if you just wanted the big battle, you're going to get it, man. Battle of the Gullet's going to melt your face off. It's going to be amazing. I have no doubt. But I am a little worried about how upset George is. So that got me worried, like, okay, well, they've had the wiggle room, but they're just going to like full on deviate big time at this point. So we'll see. I don't want to get into spoilers in case anybody has not read those, but I think they might move some of the character deaths back a little bit because they're going to have a 4th season, and I think they might not want to lose some of those more marketable actors that they have on the show. Let's put it that way. I'd rather see him direct Animal Farm than Hunt for Gollum. It's one of the best fantasy books of all time, man. Glad you read it. Awesome. We're going to find out, right? We are going to find out. I am planning right now. The plan is to recharge our batteries a little bit before I really start getting out there. But the Severance, like I said, Severance and Vacation Time was good enough that I feel like I can be picky. But, I'm not ignorant of the fact that the job market is super flooded right now because this is happening in a lot of places. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Gonna take it as it goes, but positive thinking right now. Oh man, you can have him. You can have him and all of his false starts. Have fun. Have fun. To me, that guy is just not worth it. He's a finesse player. He's a great pass blocker, a horrible run blocker, and he after his last season here, he got 3 touchdowns called back because he just didn't know how to stand in the right place. That Minnesota game, he had 4 straight false starts. Don't miss them, but I'm glad you guys are happy. No. What was it? Just like last week he was saying he still has like 200 pages left. What are you doing, man? What are you doing? Yeah. Is this a new Animal Farm movie? Is it new? I didn't even know they were making it. You guys want the best adaptation of Animal Farm by George Orwell? Go listen to the album Animals by Pink Floyd. That's the best adaptation of Animal Farm. Absolutely. Incredible album. Bro, the thing with our draft was like, I never want to just make it because we don't know. We don't know about these, but it's just like, you're really going to take an upside pick at number 59 overall. And I know this was a weak draft. I was like, holy shit, there was better tight ends on the board too. But they got to wait and see because there's been several picks they made where I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? But then it worked out pretty good. So, well, that would really be turning the clock back since I did that when I tried to put myself through college as a teenager. Yes. Well, not a teenager. I was 21. You had to be to serve liquor. But the first time I tried to go to college and I didn't want to take a student loan, that's what I did was bartending. So, yeah, no. Maybe I'll make a video about this because people are so interested in my spreadsheet. It's not complicated. It's just how I sketch out what I'm going to do for the year. And then I just kind of, just click and drag and insert what I want where. But as far as it comes out planning out schedules monthly, it's just I try to mix up the genres. I try to make sure I don't put 4 overly long books on one month, try to balance it with by the length of them and how fast I think I'll be able to read them. And not because I feel like I have to keep a schedule, just because to me that's just the order of the madness, to not get overwhelmed by something is to plan ahead. But I never will sit here and say, oh, it's a fail-proof plan, but when it comes to just picking for the year, yeah, I use you guys' feedback on that video where I'm like, hey, here's books I'm thinking about reading next year. You guys' feedback is really what helps drive that. It really is. That's not just me like engagement farming, wanting you guys to leave comments. That's true. I want to read the things that you guys want to hear me talk about. So it really is based off of feedback a lot. And that's why, when people are like, hey, why aren't you reading Sandman Slim? It's like, look, it's on the list. And that's why one year it will go on this because you guys have been asking me to read it for so long. Look, my mother is texting. My mother never texts me. What is going on? Mothers know how to say the sweetest things, don't they? If anybody, I don't know about you guys, but here's how it is with Gen X. And I don't think it's exclusive to Gen X. It's just this is the kind of the feedback I get with the parenting that we got is we are so grounded and so humble because our parents know how to knock us off of any person. I'm almost tempted to read that one out loud for you. Oh my gosh. If she knew I was talking about this on a live stream, she'd be just aghast. See, that's why I wanted to read Necromancers because the adaptation's coming out, but I'm trying to think it ain't going to happen. Appreciate it. Like I said, we're first first day here, so you're so optimistic and just excited to get out of that situation. Oh man, moms they know how to knock you down. And they're like, hey, it's not out of love. It's just like, no, they keep you honest in that way. They never let you get a big ego. That's for sure. Absolutely. I'm absolutely relieved. And I know what rumors you hear, but I've heard some things that Sarah Michelle Gellar is not that nice. She's not that easy to work with, what I've heard. So I don't know. But to me, it's like, I understand Joss Whedon turned out not to be the most nice human being. That show don't work without him. It does not work without him. So no, absolutely not. It's happening this year. I'm doing Mystery Walk by McCammon this year. Mm-hmm. It's happening. I might. The thing here's the one thing that can piss my mom off is if she texts you anything, even if it's nothing that needs a reply, you'd better reply, or she's going to be like, "Wow, no response." Blah 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 blah. And that's basically what I got. She sent me a thing about you can get a free Firehouse sub if your name was Mike or something. I don't know what it was. It was like certain names you get one, and I didn't even respond because obviously I was going through my thing yesterday and I didn't respond to it. And that's basically what it was. Well, you can't even respond. Not worth your time. Oh, she is just so good at the guilt trip, and when you don't even respond to it, it makes her even more upset. So, okay. Yeah, it's or that. Why haven't I heard from you? Yeah, see, so it's not just me. Yeah, it's they send positive ones too. Don't get me wrong, but whew, they definitely know how to keep you grounded, no doubt. That's why I'll just text my kid every once in a while, just be like, "You're a moron." Don't want her getting too excited about how awesome he is. Sure, and that's why I always say, yeah, to me, it's like if you aren't physically harming someone or you aren't, a predator, I think that yeah, you can be a reprehensible person, and you're a good writer. I'll still read your stuff. I don't have to be lockstep with you and your opinions to like your stuff. Absolutely not. But again, as long as you're not like physically, and I'm not talking about words. I know people was like, well, they heard lots of people with the word. No, to me, it's like if you're not physically harming someone, you're not harming kids, you're not harming animals. I can probably look past it, and just read your story and probably enjoy it. Because I think if we only read or watch movies or listen to music from people that we think are good, perfect, wholesome human beings, maybe it would help us have smaller book collections. Maybe it help us stop collecting so much music. I don't know. So maybe it might be for the better. That's just how I feel. I love Sandman. I think he's a disgusting human being. So I think it's one of those things where, like, am I going to sit here and tell you, hey, you got to read Neil Gaiman? Probably not. But I'm not like going to go sell my Sandman comics now or something. So I get where it's coming from. And, he I would say he probably did actually hurt someone physically. So yeah, he would probably fall under that. I don't know. That's a tough conversation to have, I think. No doubt, no one is better than freaking Gen X moms, and I'm sure again, every generation feels like that. All I have to go off of is my own, but I just feel like people all the time are like, well, man, why do Gen X people just like so chill? I was like, since our parents just never let us they never let us do anything, and they never let us get too full of ourselves. Absolutely not. Yeah, see, when this starts being a slippery slope, when you start being like, oh, what authors? I mean, like, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I had not been on this channel for long, and I actually got a handwritten letter telling me why I was a bad person because I was talking about how great H.P. Lovecraft was. No, true story. So certain people are going to feel very, very strongly about it, and I respect their freedom to do that. I mean, that's your choice. You can definitely do that. But I had no idea, apparently, that Alice Sebold, who wrote Lovely Bones, got in some hot water. the last few years. I had no idea about this. And so when I said I was going to be reading Lovely Bones, I got a bunch of comments about, like, I can't believe that you're promoting her book. She's such an awful garbage human and stuff like that. I'm like, what are you talking about? I have no idea. I don't have any idea. So, I think you're going to have something with everything like that. You can't let that dictate everything that you read. And I just don't really talk about it because that's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to talk about books, So that's why I could just kind of ignore that stuff. It's rough. It's definitely rough. But, at least it's not the days like before where we had to, like, go pound the pavement and go out there and, like, ask for a handwritten application. You can do it all online now. Yeah. I hope that you can do online interviews. That'd be nice. Not have to drive downtown to have a job interview, pay for parking. Yeah, I noticed a lot of people like that. Like, I had Stardust, and that's all I'd read by him was Stardust and Sandman. And I liked Sandman a lot, but some secret right there. There you go. I think that if social media was a thing from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, you'd see some really, really. So people would not have had the careers that they had. Let's put it that way. I have not. Lots of people talking about Andor. I just no. Disney Wars just ran out of continues with me. They just lost my trust. I'm just like, I don't care if it's good. I'm just not watching them anymore because I'm very much that type of, like, look, instead of being the person who makes content that watches stuff they know that they're going to hate just because they know that hate videos get a lot of attention, I'm not going to, if I am not interested in watching yourself, like, you're making a remake of my favorite movie, and I don't think it needs to happen. And you're saying stuff like the lady who's remaking Narnia, and she's just basically just like trashing the book. And I'm just like, I'm not even going to watch it. I'm not going to give you any oxygen. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to support it. I'm not going to give money to people who don't want my money. So that's just the approach that I take to it. So I just pretend it doesn't exist. So to me, the Star Wars EU, all those books right here, all them books right there, that's my Star Wars. That's my Star Wars, and I'm just going to pretend that this stuff never happened because, yeah, there you go. I was optimistic about it, but I thought Superman was fine. I think Supergirl looks stupid. Like, I'm not even interested in seeing it. Who the hell asked for a Clayface movie? I don't understand. It's like, this isn't hard. This isn't hard. You have the greatest superheroes ever created. You have people look at it now and be like, oh yeah, Marvel superheroes are so great. Before those movies really broke big, MCU is like, a lot of those characters were B characters because they didn't have X-Men. They didn't have Spider-Man. They had their B roster. They just wrote really good movies. And that helped turn a lot of that around. DC Comics characters were legendary. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern. You had all these amazing characters. The Flash. This isn't hard. I don't understand why they can't put this together. It really isn't hard to do this. And I just feel like they just keep going out of their way to say, well, we're going to put our own spin on it. It's like, why? It ain't broke, don't fix it. It's very frustrating. And I like James Gunn. I love the Guardians movies. I love Slither. Slither's a great movie. But I don't know. I'm not optimistic about it right now. It's a good opinion. It's a good opinion. And the whole reason I wanted to read Acts of Cain is because I read Schrader. No doubt. No doubt. That's true. That's true. The thing is, like, that's the kind of movie that you make once that you've established a successful universe, not the third movie. Not the third movie when you're trying to establish a new connected universe. It's just, yeah. It's like taking an upside pick at number 59 overall in the draft. Well, it's not. Yeah, so I've heard tech is definitely getting hit hard right now. Mm. Yeah, and I feel like finance is about to go through this. It's really, really sucky. I said the whole reason I got into finance was because I always heard you'll never have a hard time finding a job. Now, like, what if we can teach this software to do what it is that you do? Uh-oh. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, my friend. That's what you missed. You missed it all. It's all gone now. We're just hanging out and doing nothing now. We're about to start talking about our favorite Stargate SG-1 episodes. It's gonna be great. I appreciate the confidence. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. That's how I felt. I enjoyed Superman. I didn't hate it, but it's nothing that I'm like itching to watch again. It's everywhere, man. It really, really is. I mean, like, go to a shopping mall right now, and those places used to just be like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You couldn't even find a parking spot in a mall. Now it's like you can go to a shopping mall on December 23rd, and it's a ghost town. And I used to think those places used to just be madness during the Christmas season. They would have extended hours. They stay open until midnight because there was so much business. It's ghost town now, because everybody does their shopping online. Sucky, but that's just where we are. Try to go for that vibe. I feel like there's always plenty to talk about. And then that just be books. There's lots of things that, even as readers, like we have real lives too. There's other things that we like, right? I'm glad you guys liked that video. It was really fun to make. Like I said, I did have to go through and pre-screen those questions, but still reading a lot of them were just hilarious to me. We do. We got several. We still do. And they must do good enough to stay open, but it definitely isn't booming like it used to be. And it definitely is not one of those where you could think about previously where they were having extended hours. Now it's like these shops are closing at like 8 o'clock. Like, I was blown away. I made a TikTok about a month ago. We went to that Books a Million on Friday night, and while we're in there, it's like 7:30, and they're like, on the thing, like, we're closing soon, basically telling you to get out. I'm like, so you're going to close at 8 o'clock on a Friday night? Like, I know book readers are supposed to be introverts and all, but 8 o'clock on a Friday night? Come on, what y'all doing? And I think that's just a post virus that shall not be named. As they just they took out hours, but also maybe they're just not finding it beneficial to stay open that late anymore because people are staying home. Well, I'm still waiting for someone to pay me to read. It's not a very desirable position for anyone who has that kind of money, I guess. I don't know. Pay me to read. I want like the Joe Rogan podcast of books, but on Spotify, and get that Spotify money. That would be good. Yeah, where we just we read a book and we talk about it and have a guest on. That's a dream job right there. Absolutely. I think that me and Jay Kristoff would be super, super close if he lived here. Jay is the most likable and personable person I've ever met. He is just so damn kind. It is not an act with that guy. He is absolutely so generous. Would bend over backwards. It would let you walk over his body to miss a mud puddle. He's that kind of guy. And he's just one of those that you can just talk to for hours and never run out of things to talk about. Such a great human being. So I definitely think that Jay is the genuine article. Very, very, just a sweetheart. Absolutely. Yeah, the Galleria still has bad traffic, so I'm guessing the Galleria still pulls in the attendance. And I work by the Woodlands Mall, or worked until yesterday by the Woodlands Mall. So maybe it's still good. But Willowbrook, does anybody? Like, we go to Katy Mills, and it's a ghost town. Like, no matter when we go there, and it's just like quiet. It just feels like a graveyard. Yeah. I turned down no monetary value, like, whatsoever. None, absolutely not. God, I miss Astroworld, man. I wish we had an amusement park here. Fourth, almost third biggest city in the country. Why can't we have an amusement park? So sad. So sad. Oh, we've reached this point. Okay. I tell this to everybody, and they get so upset because they keep just trying to think of someone more and more overpowered every time I say it. I am not picking against Darrow in any one-on-one fight in literature. None. Because he's kind of like an evil Batman that way. Is that he will plan ahead and he will have something up his sleeve where he knows how to beat you. Even if everybody like, well, not the Bloody Nine, he'd find some way to beat the Bloody Nine. I do believe that. It's Darrow. He doesn't lose a one-on-one fight. He always has a plan. He's evil Batman. He always plans ahead, and he knows something that the reader doesn't. and damn it, he will get out of it every single time. So I will always pick Hadrian. I'm sorry, Darrow. Hadrian would probably just try to lull him to sleep with words and speak really eloquently to him. And Darrow and Hadrian, that conversation wouldn't go anywhere. They just start talking about Plutarch or some shit. Darrow wins. Darrow is the John Cena. Cena wins, LOL. That would be Darrow. Darrow wins, LOL. I don't have to explain it. Just does. Man, that was my stomping grounds as a teenager. Man, we in the 90s, you just get dropped off at the mall. Before you had a car, and you just walk around the mall. That was it. You didn't have to have any money or do anything. You just walk around, go to the same stores, see the same people. That was it. Just hang out. God, it was such a simple time. I love it. I read up through Falcon of the Millennium Empire. No, that was it for me. Golden Age is like one of the best things I've ever read. Golden Age was incredible. It's as advertised. The one that came after that was Ascension, I think it's called. That was pretty good too. Falcon was hit or miss for me. Started focusing on some characters I didn't really care about, like Shirky and people like that. So I think that he waited too long with the situation that Guts and Casca are in. He waited so long now. It's just like, I just don't care anymore. And it's a shame. He passed away before he got to finish the story. Really, really sad. Absolutely. He tells nobody because he doesn't want anybody to know. Here's a good one. What do you do when you're in a reading slump? Do you have any other hobbies that you enjoy? Yeah, I love music, obviously. Music, I feel like, can get me through anything. I have certain artists that I listen to, certain songs I listen to that help me, like when going through a depression or something like that. But people are like, well, is just listening to music a hobby? Yes. Again, that's the generation that I grew up in. We didn't have a device or something to do it all the time. Listening to the music was what we were doing. You would listen to music. You would look at the liner notes. You would study the lyrics. You would doodle on a sketch pad while you listened to your music, because it was what it was about. It was about just fully consuming that music, not just background noise. That's what it was about. So I definitely say that. Obviously, I do like some gaming, but I don't have anything where like I build something. I don't have that kind of creativity. I just recently started writing, but the thing is like I don't have a multitude of writing ideas. I have one story in my head right now. So it's another thing where I'm saying that I feel like it'll be very, very bittersweet and sad to me when I finish, because I won't have anything else. I don't have any other story ideas. And the reason why this one flowed like it did is because I've been thinking about it for years. And I had a long ass outline of a sequence of events before I wrote one single word. That's why I was able to do it. I don't have anything like that going forward. So I don't know that I could say that would be one of them, but you never know. Never know. I plan on reading at least the bridge novel this year. It's really just going to kind of come into, what kind of mood I'm in. Because, Tad is very slow burn. So I need to make sure that I'm in a place where I feel like I can consume a long, slow burn fantasy book. But I mean, I love Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn. So I expect to like this, especially when I have a lot of people telling me, hey, yeah, it might be as good or better. You never know. My favorite horror movie killer. Probably Charles Lee Ray. You guys know him as Chucky. Chucky's always been like child's play for me. It's always just been something that like I've enjoyed just because it's so ludicrous and it's amazing. And obviously Brad Dourif is a legend, and the way that he voices Chucky is just so great. And for whatever reasons, my kids really got into child's play. And it's the weirdest thing is how I have, a 13 and a 10-year-old, and we turned the child's play series into like family movie nights, and we watched the whole thing. But I've always loved Chucky just because he has all the quips of like a Freddy, but he also got no problem just being like, yeah, it's going to stab you now. Why not? So it's silly, but I love it. The Last War. You start with We Are the Dead. It's awesome. Awesome series. Love it. Yeah, you can't go wrong with Jason, Michael, Freddy, or Chucky for me. But yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people like Art the Clown now. That's a good one. creating a new horror icon this day of age is actually really impressive that they were able to do that. So good for them. You go to like the Spirit Halloween or Spencer Gifts, anything that has like a lot of horror merch, and it's everywhere. It's everywhere. I guess I should say Annabelle, right? My kids are terrified of Annabelle. They are. I bought that Annabelle doll last year just to scare the shit out of them. It's great. It's been great. You want me to pull it up right now? I got a spreadsheet right now from where I finished writing this morning. Let me see. Chapter word count. Let's see here. This is pre-edits, guys. Pre-edits. Get that word out of there so I can actually get the quantity total here. Pre-edits, I am at 553,283. Yeah. How about that? Nuts. But I'm looking at it right now and I'm like, 4 chapters and the epilogue. That's what I have left. But again, like I said, you can't take that to heart as 4 chapters because, again, so I would say 50,000 words is probably what I have left. That's why I'm saying I'm guesstimating a 600,000 word total. Wild, I know. I know. I want to tell you, I can't say anything quickly. Same with this. With this, like I said, I feel like the biggest feedback I got when I was asking people, because I was like, I don't read a ton of romance. What is like the biggest criticisms of romance? And obviously, I'm not into about like modern romance where it's about get to the next sex thing. That's not the kind of story I'm telling. No, that's not what I'm doing here. It's like, what is your problem with like relationships in these books? And the biggest criticism I hear is, show me they love each other. Don't tell me. I'm like, well, how can I do that? Because I'm not very good at really being descriptive with writing. How do I do that? And I said, I think what I can do is just don't montage anything. Show me what it's like with these two growing together and changing together over the course of these 15 years. So I have to take my time to show you that because I'm not good enough at this to do anything besides tell you, oh yeah, they really love each other. That's just it. They just do. You know, I have to just show you by the way they are around each other, and that takes time. So that's why I think it's just kind of gotten so long in the tooth. But it was always planned to be. It was always planned to be this long. And when I wrote that timeline, I was like, I can't skimp on anything. So it's going to be very slow burn. It is going to be very slice of lifey, and that's something I feel like I can't do quickly. At least I can't. Absolutely can't. Yeah, show don't tell. It's tough. It's tough because people are like, myself included, get your story shorter. Get your story shorter. So it's only another reason why I'm like, I don't know why I want to release, if I ever want to release this, because I don't know that there's an audience for something like that. But I do like, the biggest thing that has me tempted is I feel like there's 2 things. One, I feel like we need more guys writing romance. I feel like it's a genre that we just have pulled ourselves out of because of what modern romance is like. And you know what I'm talking about. And 2, I think it needs to be about the relationship again and fading to black in the sex scenes. It doesn't need to be about just getting to the next sex scene, which is what I feel like most romance is now. Just get to the next sex scene. Obviously, there's an audience for that because those people are selling millions and millions and millions of books. I could never write nothing like that, so I would never do that. That's not anything I want to do. But I do think that a lot of guys are hopeless romantics. We really are out there, and I think that it is something that guys would be more interested in reading if they felt like they were more of a target audience, and I don't feel like they are right now. So that's my piece. I don't know. I don't know. It's like it's one of those things like you wish you had a time machine. Like if I could release it and see how it gets received, that's one thing. But then you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, And so yeah, it's great. I really just feel like there needs to be more guys writing romance. There it does, because there is guys out there, I feel like, that are hungry for something like that. They'll read something that they didn't know that they needed, that love story in their fantasy book. Like, wow, it's actually really good. I really appreciate that. And it's like they didn't know they needed it because we've been so trained the last 20, 25 years of romance books aren't for us. So there we go. Very, Very. I don't think that he goes into it trying to cosplay as Robert Jordan, and you'll see that because you'll be like, this doesn't feel like Matt Coffin at all. He gets better with it, but at first you'll be like, this doesn't feel like Matt, like whatsoever. I think even Brandon said that's one of his biggest regrets is that he feels like he messed up Matt at first, but he got better. He got better at it. But you will notice the pace, obviously, and I think Gathering Storm is one of the best Wheel of Time books. So there you go. Who likes Sasquatches? Romance readers like Sasquatches? Oh yeah. A lot of people are like, oh, all you gotta do is just add some smut to your book and it'll sell 1,000,000 copies. And like, it's just, nah, I would never do nothing like that. Absolutely not. I am very much Fade to Black. Yes, your characters can have sex. Hey, let's be realistic here. You're spending 15 years with a couple. There's going to be sex, and you can insinuate that that's going to happen, but you don't have to explain it. You can just insinuate that it happened. That's kind of how I am. Very much Fade to Black in that regard. Yes, exactly. Smut's not romance. There's obviously an audience for that, and good for you. I'm glad you found something that you like. To me, that's not what a love story is. It's just get the next sex scene. It's bad. I hate the spicy sex scenes that happen in fantasy books. It's just, oh, you're such a prude. Like it's not about being a prude. It's not what I'm here for. I'm here for the storytelling, and I don't need to hear about their throbbing cock. I don't need to hear that shit. But again, some people are into that. That's cool. I'm glad that you dig it. That's just not me whatsoever. It's Bigfoot, right? Sasquatch is just Bigfoot. Bigfoot. You know what Bigfoot is? It's not a monster truck. Harry and the Hendersons. Like I said, my wife reads some of those Harlequin romance novels, but she knows that. I mean, those are also 210 pages. That's all they are. When you've turned the fantasy genre into that, it's like, my gosh, But folds, arching. I've noticed that the word arching is a real big one in those books. Arch backs and arched other things. Yeah, arching and aches. There's lots of aches too, apparently. Anyhow. I mean, I think you can have some kisses. I have some kissing. You don't have to describe it. Like, I don't need to know what they taste like. I don't need to know any of that stuff. But I think you can have kissing. It's not a problem. I think you would have a kiss in your movie. I mean, hell, a great kiss in a movie. Shoot, I think that can change a whole movie. If you think about, you have a relationship where you're like, actually, like, you want to see them get together, and then they have that kiss, and it's weak. It's kind of a letdown. But yes, manhood. God. Oh, God. It sounds weird to say here. I'm not throwing shade at these people. They're millionaires and they have legions of fans. So they're doing something right. And I'm glad that those people have what they need. It's not what I need. And that's why I feel like guys don't touch this genre. And I feel like they would like to. They wouldn't mind. I can't do that. There you go. You don't need to know that they taste like strawberries or some shit. Oh, I said this when Magic Mike came out. I was like, yo, remember when Coyote Ugly came out and all the guys lost their mind about the women in that movie, like talking about how shallow we were? But then Magic Mike came out and girls were panting for it. I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever. Men and women like beautiful people. This isn't a big shocker. I don't feel like that I'm really breaking any rules here by saying that. Shadows. That's it. Yeah. Shadows. For me, dialogue. I know how they feel about each other by their dialogue. And you think of in your own personal life, if someone's ever said something really romantic to you, does it sound like anything they say in the movies? Not really. I try to write this dialogue the way that I feel like people would actually talk to each other. And then I realize That doesn't sound very good on paper, though. So that's most of my backspacing comes from dialogue. Absolutely. Hmm. Especially when I said when I don't just use the cheat code of uh, then they got naked. Okay, there you go. There you go, Tim. Yeah, I think the kissing's okay, but I definitely again I don't need the full on description about the kiss. Other sides, hey, sweetly, deeply. That's good enough for me. I got the message. Slow, hard. That's fine. But you really start getting into what it tastes like and stuff. That's just starts getting weird to me. I don't think I've ever read any. Have I? I'm drawing a blank right now. All I can think of is my wife read. She read East of Eden, and apparently it was just like one of the weirdest books ever. Just about for describing. I read Grapes of Wrath in high school, so yeah. Okay, so I've read Grapes of Wrath, and it was fine. I think I might have been too young really to appreciate it. That's why a lot of those classics they had us read in high school. It's like I appreciate that they made us do it, but I don't think that we were able to appreciate it really because we just weren't really there in our lives yet. Yeah, first book was incredible, but also just so frustrating. So frustrating. I did The Faithful and the Fallen right after. So that's kind of always what I want to go to, but I don't know. I don't know if there's necessarily a if you just want more Wheel of Time. I don't know if I really have that recommendation. I always just recommend you read something shorter after Wheel of Time because I think the criticism that's completely fair about Wheel of Time is yeah, it's overly long, it's a little bloated, and I think a nice what I routinely said since I finished Wheel of Time was if that series had been about 7 or 8 books, I think it might be talked about as the greatest ever. If it really, really did just try to streamline some of those storylines, I think that it would have been just an incredibly strong series for that regard. Still think it's very, very good. It's one of my 10 favorite fantasy series ever. But, I'm not going to look away from some of the warts, and it is very slow paced in some parts. It's real, but I don't think you'll feel it as much as people who were waiting a year or two between those books. Yeah, Path of Daggers. I was like, everybody told me about, Crossroads of Twilight. They didn't tell me about Path of Daggers or Winter's Heart. Those books, Jesus. I actually thought Crown of Swords was pretty good, though. I didn't have problems with that one. I would like to. Absolutely. I'd love to support John. I would. I try to tell people all the time. I was like, when everybody gets upset that like I haven't read your book that you sent me, it's just like I know people in real life, man. I haven't read the second book in Philip's series. That's my guy. So it's definitely nothing personal. It's just only so many times, so much time in the day. I hope. Nolan's definitely one of my appointment viewing directors, so I'm hoping to. My kid's all about the Greek mythology, so he's interested in it. So that might be his first. No, he's watched Batman. I was going to be his first Nolan. I tried showing him Interstellar, and he was like, "It's just too much." Interstellar, Inception. He claims he was tired, but he said it was just too complicated when I tried to show it to him. So I tease him all the time. Now I'm like, "Oh yeah, you weren't smart enough for that movie." Like, I was tired. Yeah, it's like past lunchtime here, so start getting your final questions in now. I'm gonna split here in a little bit, but this has been fun. Thank you guys. I've been told I need to, but I haven't. I struggle with animation. I can't watch a lot of it. I get burned out on it pretty really quick. That's why me making it through Avatar was like impressive. That's how good the writing was in Avatar. Yeah, I should do that. I should do that for Sunday, huh? What's for lunch? I don't even have any idea. No idea. I don't even know what's down there. I didn't even look. I don't know. Might need to go to the grocery store. Who knows? We'll see. Well, I plan a lot of things ahead. I don't really plan ahead for meals. I mean, we have set nights, like, Mondays we have hamburgers and Tuesdays we have tacos. But outside of that, we're pretty freewheeling. TV show am I watching? What was I watching? I guess we're gonna watch From uh, the new season of From. I don't know necessarily that I'm watching anything right now. I've just been doing like documentaries. I watched the George Carlin documentary, and I watched the George Harrison documentary. It was very good as well. But I'm not watching in the middle of watching any show right now. Home Depot, they sell hot dogs. They're trying to catch up with like Costco or something. Good for them. Not yet. Not yet. We're gonna wait for home release. So I said the kids picked Mario Galaxy over Project Hail Mary. I tried. I really did try to get in there and worm tongue them and get them to change their mind, but now they really want to see, which is probably obviously better for the kids. But I think they'll enjoy. I think they'll end up enjoying Project Hail Mary. Bro, I didn't get past Dan Aykroyd's eulogy, and I was a mess watching that shit. He says, yeah. That's what it was. Me and my wife were trying to remember last night. I was like, what did they say? Like gooey gumdrop or something? On cooey. Thank you. Oh, man. See, the wait between seasons for a show like From is so rough. I'm glad that they've gotten their fifth season already, and they know that, they get to tell their complete story now. That's nice because, guys, this is the team that wrote on Lost. And if they don't know where they're going, they've sworn since the beginning of this. They knew where they were going. They just didn't know if they were going to get enough seasons to get it all done. But now that they're getting all 5 seasons, they're gonna do the whole story. So I'm very excited. I hope it sticks the landing because there's lots of threads going on now. I think they might be messing with like time travel or something. So it's gonna get crazy. I'm excited for it. It's a great show. Great. If you just like shows with like a really big cast and almost all of them are really interesting, I think you guys would love From. But it's very violent. What I said From is imagine if Stephen King wrote Lost. That's definitely what From feels like. Absolutely. But I know it's another streaming service. At this point, were we just better off keeping cable? It's really starting to be like it might have been. It might have been because all these streaming services, it's like if you had, does anybody just have one anymore? It used to just be, oh, I'm going to get just one. Now it's like, well, I've got Amazon too, but that's just for Prime shipping. But I've also got Netflix, and we went ahead and got HBO because of House of the Dragon or Last of Us. So it's like everybody's got 3 or 4 of them now. Yeah, and MGM Plus. Who has MGM Plus? Should. I mean, I wasn't sure how my wife would feel about it. And she burned through the 3 seasons over last summer like that. I mean, she ate it up. So, and she's not a real big horror person. She just got into horror from me for our spooky season stuff. So, yeah, I think it's got enough character work that anyone can appreciate it. But it does have some jumpy stuff. Like I remember that first scare in the very first scene of the first episode. I'm like, holy shit, what am I watching here? But yeah, it's an underrated ass show. It's so good. Yeah, that's the way you should do it. You should do it. Or you guys get those 7-day free trials, man, do it. And just when you want to binge something, like I tell people all the time, you want to binge something, get the Apple 7-day free trial and just binge run For All Mankind. For All Mankind's an incredible show. Incredible show. It's a good point. Cable probably would cost even more now than it used to. I don't even know. That's what I about the other day. I was like, yeah, it won't load this YouTube video, but it loads the ad in like 4K. I thought it was just my internet. Oh gosh. We do that almost every year. We'll get something like Disney Plus for $1 a month or Hulu for $1.50 a month, something like that. And that's when we'll do some of those. It'll be for a year. You just have to remember to cancel. Yeah, that's why I have Paramount Plus right now. And I was watching Survivor a lot there for a while. But yeah, so I got that for a few more months. Maybe I'll get back into watching Survivor and be asked to leave. Because that's basically what my job did. They asked me to leave the tribal council area immediately, because yeah. If you watch Survivor, that's a good joke. It really, really is. But all right, guys, I love you. Thank you so much for hanging with me. It's been really good. I hope you can tell that my attitude is actually really good. And I'm excited to see what comes next, but also for a little bit of a break. Can definitely use it. But Again, thank you guys for hanging out, and have yourselves a fun and safe weekend, man. We'll talk soon. Take care.